Welcome to the Red Leaf Retrocast Gamecast with Drew and JD. It is
Drew and JD.
It's October. No, I'm
it's
sorry.
November.
November.
It is November.
It is November. Therefore, we are talking about October games. And
ice was falling from the sky yesterday. Still no snow.
Really?
Salty,
I mean, not where I'm living now.
I walked outside.
I have officially left the
ice.
country.
It wasn't even hail. It was ice falling from the sky. Just little balls of just straight up ice. And I was very sad.
Coming from Alaska, it shouldn't be anything surprising to you.
I miss Alaska so much.
Yeah, well, I also miss a place where I used to live. I moved out of Toronto and into Rhode Island, officially. I am in my empty apartment, talking lower than usual because, well, there's nothing in my apartment, so the possibility of echo is very high.
So that means all the energy has to come from me today.
Kinda. I'm gonna be more or less kind of serious and maybe a sensible kind of radio style going for this episode.
Gotcha. JD's got the style.
I have the voice that needs to be in your ears tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I have a question. If somebody is forced to listen to our podcast, like forced at gunpoint, are we committing like audible rape?
No, because the sexual chocolate that I'm throwing into your earballs, is going to be so enjoyable you will need to listen to more.
So it's by default that it's consensual. It's that good that you just have to consent to it.
That's right.
Gotcha. All right. Sounds about right.
On this amazing cast that we have forward, October was absolutely crazy. I spent
a pretty lit month.
A ridiculous amount of money, not just on games and not just on the move, but just in life in general.
I spent a lot of money too, accidentally, and I shouldn't have.
It broke me. It absolutely broke me. But
I'm sorry, bro.
That is okay. I am doing all right. I've been doing very well in bowling lately. I'm consistently averaging over 220 these days. Playing a lot of video games.
Solid.
Watching a lot of anime.
I have not been watching much anime in a while, actually.
Fucking get on that shit, man.
I'm sorry. I just haven't been intrigued by anime lately.
Oh. Well, Ancient Magus Bride is definitely good, but we're not here to talk about anime. We are here to talk about what we've been playing lately.
Do you want to go ahead and start us out, or?
Yeah. So besides,
go ahead.
Besides any games that came out in October, I've been still going through Horizon Zero Dawn, getting ready for the DLC coming out, trying to beat the game on man mode, as you might call it. And good God, it's just so difficult. With anytime you see one of those robot creatures coming at you, you're like, I gotta get out of here because you're gonna die in a single hit.
It's real life, JD. If you get attacked by a robot dinosaur, you have to be good or you will be dead.
You just never do enough damage. You're kind of forced to either level up on, twice as much as what, say, a mission is going for. So I go into missions that say recommend you to be level 20. I'm going in at like level 23. And then I after dying multiple many times, I'm like, well, what? How do people beat this? And then I look up a YouTube video or even IGN when they're just like, we beat it on hard mode, and I see they go into the same mission, the level 20 mission, and they're at level 44 for their character. I'm like, oh, fuck off. I don't got that kind of time.
They did it, so...
Yeah, but come on, that's really defeating the purpose of playing on hard mode if
that's just a strategy.
You're twice as leveled as it.
That's just the strategy that they're using.
Well, anyways, during the move, I was spending a bunch of finishing off my Best Buy gift cards in Canada. So I got a few other games. I got Rayman Legends for the Switch.
There you go.
That's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Rayman Origins, and Rayman Legends is definitely a lot easier than Origins, but it's also definitely a lot better.
Right.
Yeah, they change a lot of level designs up, added a bunch of new characters. There's really cool music levels, because Rayman's always been about music, but this time around there's a dedicated level where they're playing a song using a lot of the Rayman sound effects.
Right.
So as you're jumping, that's a note, and everything's timed very perfectly to go in time. It's one of the coolest levels I've played in a platforming game in a long time. Then I also got Cave Story Plus, which I haven't been able to dabble into.
I've heard of
yet.
that. I've definitely heard of that game.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it on Steam. I got really good reviews. I've heard nothing but good things, and I figured I wanted another Switch game, and I have money to spend. Free money, as a matter of fact. And, man, that game was just so impossible to find. I went with my buddy in Toronto, kind of retro game shopping, and this one retro store just happened to have it. I mean, I went into Best Buys and EB Games, and none of them had it, but for some reason this one retro store in the middle of, outside of Toronto, just happened to have it.
Nice.
And then dabbling in more Everybody's Golf.
There you go. That's
what about yourself, man?
I played most of the games that we had here on the cast, and then it's November, so I've been playing Call of Duty the last couple days.
Well, speaking of Call of Duty, you were playing against one of our listeners.
Yeah, no, Semi.
In 1v1.
We played some pubs, and yeah, no, because so in the spawn area, you're in the social area. They basically ported over a social area from Destiny. You have this 1v1 pit where you just get a random setup. It's this weird, like, just wooden, small little block wooden thing. And some people are just good at that. And after playing, because I was really confused, because I thought Semi was way better than me. And I was really confused. And I'm not like saying Semi's a terrible player, because he's pretty decent. But he wasn't showing up as hardcore as he was in the public matches, so I feel a little bit better about myself. But some people just know how to do 1v1 pits, and I don't. So we were pretty lopsided.
It was definitely fun watching you guys. I myself am not a huge Call of Duty fan, but that was definitely fun to watch.
No, the 1v1 pit is the most fun. It's really fun because it's so dumb and crazy and small enough and hectic enough to just be fun. And, I've watched just casual players take down the pros in streams, and it's just weird and it's fun. And it makes no sense. The spawns, the luck, it's weird. It's very lucky. You got to be really. There's a lot of RNG in that 1v1 pit, but yeah. Then I've been playing the game, and I have. It looks like there's some questions about the game, so I'll wait till we get to the questions.
We got quite a few Call of Duty questions since this is November now, but we'll definitely break the game down more come the November cast, which we record in December. Since a lot,
I'll gush on it for a good half an hour next. Next
yeah,
month.
you'll be the one kind of talking about it. It'll be similar to what happened in Destiny, but this time around, I'm not even gonna bother playing it because I can't be. I honestly cannot be unbiased towards a Call of Duty.
What we can do, just so you can have some points, I'll let you play the first mission of the campaign. Play one playthrough in zombies. And then, you don't have to put 10 hours into the game. Just give the campaign one go, give the zombies one go. And maybe play a multiplayer match.
Maybe. Just from my initial impression on what I've been reading, it looks like Medal of Honor. It honestly looks like Medal of Honor.
Well, with how big the game is going to be, I would recommend just give it one try, just you've played it, Mm-hmm. And I'll hook you up.
If we can share play maybe just the first mission, then I can just have
and I'd highly recommend zombies as well. Campaign's cool, but try zombies as well. It's they did good. But yeah, no. So do you want to just jump straight into the questions, and I can pipe more on? That's really the only game I've been playing besides the podcast one. So
well, I do definitely want to talk about a little bit more about Everybody's Golf.
Oh, go at it. Let's do
it.
I watched a good
the day before I left Canada was a buddy of mine came over and we were listening to the World Series game, Astros Dodgers. At this point in time, the Astros have won the World Series, so go Houston, H-Town strong. But I was so convinced with Clayton Kershaw on the mound that the Dodgers were going to win like 1-0, just not touched. And sure enough, first inning it was 3-0. And I don't know if you've ever tried listening to baseball on the radio, but
I have. My dad's a huge Mariners fan.
Oh my god, it's so fun to do that. And
yeah.
I'm a big fan of it. The game was made during that era when the radio was out, and then to hear announcers with all their meticulous detail describing it makes the game better. So it's almost like watching an NFL game today on TV as opposed to going to the stadium. It's a game made for TV, so the experience is TV.
Yeah, pretty much.
But while we were doing this, we were just kind of mucking around and everybody's golfing, kind of just chilling out. And we were playing each other. And anytime someone lost a hole, you had to drink a beer. So we were calling it because I had beer to drink in my apartment and I couldn't bring it over the border. So I'm like, Alex, you're coming over. We're gonna play drink the beer and play everyone's golf. So we won drink the beer. The Astros ended up winning that game. The best baseball game I've ever listened to, watched, anything. It was that good. I went back and watched the last 3 innings. It's why I like sports in the first place.
Right.
Yeah. Good times. But I'm in Rhode Island now. Good stuff. A lot of stories that I'll share on another podcast. Save some of those later.
All right.
So we got some questions. Are you ready for this, Drew?
Yeah, I'm ready. Some of these, there's some that are. There's one that make. One of the questions, I just don't understand why you put it on the list. Let's go for it.
All right, well, the first one I haven't added to the agenda. It's actually from Kevin.
Kevin?
Yeah, Console Kev himself.
We should talk shit about him. It's not his podcast.
Well, I mean, he wasn't available to be on it, because I asked both Kevin and Josh to be on this one, just to get a third guy to bounce ideas off of. Maybe they have questions.
Then he said no, so we could talk shit about him.
No, they're just unavailable. They're always unavailable. They got lives.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, that's.
But Kevin did ask a question, and he goes, "Loot boxes are easy, but how do we feel about games focusing online over the single player experiences?"
I think that I can understand exactly what your answer is going to be, and mine's going to be the exact opposite, because I've definitely grown up with the multiplayer gaming generation, and you grew up with the single player gaming generation.
Absolutely.
I respect single player games, and I enjoy them. They are fun, and I enjoy. They're some good ones, and I think the studios that make the great ones are still going to make the great ones, and I'm fine with that. I've always been a multiplayer gamer, so I'm probably going to stick to multiplayer.
So the longevity isn't there. The way I look at multiplayer games is it has to be couch co-op, or couch multiplayer. Otherwise, the longevity of the game won't last. That's why we still see Mario Kart to this day, and why we don't see the same. What's a good example? I think it was called Warhawk on the PS3. Mm-hmm. A fantastic multiplayer game. I even got into it. You were able to have ground troops, cars, tanks, big massive planes, and it was just a chaotic map. But as soon as the server's down, you never heard from the game again. And that's one of my big problems with a game like Overwatch. I don't deny it's a good game. I don't deny that the game is very tight. All the controls are there. People are obsessed with them. However, once that server's gone, so's the game.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
weird,
only way a company can stay in business then is to either just make another one called Overwatch 2, just as an example, or they just never make another one and you never hear from them again. And then who's the archive is there? I guess the way I look at multiplayer games is it's so short lived. They're so short lived that it's a live in the moment kind of thing, and I just don't like them. Plus, the amount of competitive nature that the gaming industry is in now makes it very hard to get into. You have to sink a ton of hours, and this is one of my main problems with Destiny that we spoke about on the last podcast. Mm-hmm. It's why I don't do those things, and they just require so much time when I could just be like, okay, Assassin's Creed Origins came out, I want to sink 4 hours into that, and then maybe play another game because I get tired of that one. Sink my time into another one and have more fun instead of just I also look at multiplayer games as a monotonous task. Multiplayer online.
Yeah, it depends on if you really enjoy the game or not. You have to really enjoy the game. Because my thing is, like, I don't like Overwatch. It's not a bad game. I'm not denying it's a bad game. I've never really been a hero shooter fan. Mm-hmm. But I would play the shit out of a single player for it. I think it's beautiful. I like the world. I like the characters.
By hero shooter, you're kind of lumping in Overwatch in the same as what, Team Fortress? Team Fortress.
As a Call of Duty kid, I've always wanted to take the guns that I wanted to take and play off the skill that I have, not group together with a bunch of, like if I'm going to play Overwatch, I'm going to play Soldier 76, is it? Or Soldier something. Mm-hmm. Just because I have a gun, I have a good DPS, I'm going to go slay out, That's always been my type of play style. So I can play Halo, I can play Call of Duty, I can play shooters that allow me to play the way I want to and don't force me to play a certain way,
I gotcha. So then, you say you're more online focused.
Because generally most of the games I play are online. Every once in a while I'll pull out a single player that I'm interested in, like The Last of Us, like Uncharted. What was another one? That's indie games. Mm-hmm. I'm playing the Call of Duty campaign, which I'm really really enjoying. I just have never
Medal of Honor 2.0.
No, it's not, dude. I'm telling you, it's not.
I'll be the judge of that.
Okay. I've always been, it's always been, playing with friends or playing online and trying to be better, competing. And that's always been my thing. So single player, I think you're going to see everybody's saying single player is dead. And I don't think single player is dead. I think bad single player is dead. I think all the studios that make the really good single-player games still have the money to keep making them, but all the ones that kind of put out the moderate, just like meh, single-player games aren't going to have the support or money to make them anymore.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying because the controversy behind the Visceral Studios closing down, and the controversy behind the horrible Star Wars project, whether it was the game they ran out of money or whatever it may be.
Well, there's just not support for it anymore. People buy multiplayer games.
No. What's happening is there's plenty of support for single player games. I mean, you have Uncharted 4, you have Mario Odyssey, which is a massive success. Zelda, the purchase power is there. There's no doubt about it. What I see happening, and why a lot of these companies are veering towards loot boxes and everything is. The single player games are requiring so much money to make that's where the issue is. And it's what Nintendo's doing separately is they're not sinking so much money into graphics alone.
Then again, they have the support and money to do it though, right? Because the thing is that
Sony
especially
and Xbox
nowadays,
could do the same thing easily
with their first party titles. Which is why first party still has a good amount of single players. Because they have the money and are supported by that. The third-party single players are disappearing. The big issue is that I see like everywhere is that studios are considering multiplayer. They're confusing multiplayer with replayability. I think if we add multiplayer, it's replayable. We can add loot box. It works like that. No. Single player and multiplayer games together, they still have to have a good quality. They have to have good systems, and the game mechanics themselves make replayability, not multiplayer or not loot boxes. And that's where everything kind of just gets confusing. We're just so many echo chambers and blobs of just random games at this point. And therefore, single player is suffering because of that.
The one other just strange little fact that has been brought up online recently is this whole $60 game basis that's been around for ages. Just living in Canada where games are $80, $90, $100 at a time, and yet in the United States, games are still $60. That's a little bit of an issue too, because the games are costing more. So why aren't the games are costing more to make? So why aren't the games then more expensive? I know that would cause a lot of backlash with gamers, and maybe they wouldn't buy as many. They'd be more selective. It just seems like why the price hasn't gone up. It just seems very juvenile in the gaming industry itself with how we purchase games.
Yeah. Because the thing is technology gets better and everything just gets more advanced. Things start costing more money.
Right.
And gaming is generally pretty... It's not a very expensive hobby if you're just doing it casually. And those games, buying for $60, those are a lot. They're not making their return, which is why you're seeing DLC splits and
exactly.
Loot boxes so frequently, because they're actually making the money they need to make the game through those. Yeah,
the best example of everything kind of coming together is what we saw with Rise of the Tomb Raider. That game cost Square so much money to make, and even though it was a massive success, the game got good reviews, good ratings, everything. People bought the game, but it cost so much that they had to have, I believe it was almost double what actually occurred, and that was just a number that wasn't really in the realm of reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And look at Destiny. Destiny sold millions, did not make a return because it was the most expensive game. I think Destiny is still the most expensive game ever made.
Which is baffling.
What wasn't it, like 500 million or something? Or 50 million? It was something way...
But that's exactly what we're talking about. And then people wonder why companies are resorting to this dirty tactic of microtransactions and loot boxes. For them it makes sense, but also they should really take a step back. If it's going to cost so much, don't do it. Just take some cuts, because games can be made on a smaller budget. Look at Nintendo. Look at all these indie titles that are coming out that are massive hits. You make a good game, we will play it and buy it.
Especially, and then the thing about the indie guys is that it's cheap. They're making the game for super dirt cheap, so they're making a lot of money.
Yeah,
and that's why you've seen the indie game get so big, is because they're actually making the money to keep making their games.
So, anyways, we've definitely hit that. That was a really good question that Kevin asked, and I thought it was very good to hit up first. Moving on here. Basically, this is just people kind of close to us, and we haven't had questions in a while. So these are from a few of our listeners or fellow podcasters on Red Leaf Retrocast here. So the second one is Hickey on the Anime Podcast on Worldwide Weebs. He goes, now that you have your hands on World War II, what are your thoughts on how it plays? Did you play the campaign? If yes, right. Is it just another COD campaign, or it's something else we haven't seen before? So let's answer those first.
So what are your thoughts on how it plays? Did you play the campaign? If yes, is another COD campaign. Do you think touched? All right. Do you have any opinions on this?
Okay, well...
you go first.
It looks like it plays exactly like any other Call of Duty game where the controls are tight. From what I've seen of the campaign, very limited, it looks like since they've quote-unquote gone back to its roots, it looks exactly like what Medal of Honor used to be in the late 90s and early 2000s. Just kind of upscaled with better graphics. Obviously, Medal of Honor has never looked anything like with what graphics are capable of these days, or what people can make these days. But it does look like it's picking at a straw that we've already drank out of before. So honestly, I think we have seen this before. Is to answer the question, yeah.
So to start off with how it plays, Call of Duty is known for its gameplay. You know, people really enjoy the gameplay. So yes, they're sticking to the Call of Duty feel of the game. I think personally, the easiest one to compare it to is Modern Warfare 3. I think it plays a lot like MW3, and definitely it's very old school because we're so used to unlimited sprint, the crazy boot jumping and boosting. So it definitely took me a while to kind of slow down. Mm-hmm. And I think it plays well. You know, Call of Duty always has played well. I enjoy the gameplay, and that's keeps a lot of people coming back. The campaign, I really like. I think as far as Call of Duty goes, this is one of the best campaigns. I think the opening mission to this campaign was either the first or second best Call of Duty mission ever. And the other two that I would put in the top three would be all gillied up from Modern Warfare. Yeah, the D-Day mission.
Yeah, it is
incredible.
Medal of Honor has done that, I believe, 2 or 3 times.
Well, yeah, that's where because it's D-Day. That's where I'm getting. Infamous, well, it's an infamous battle in U.S. history in World War II.
Yeah, but they could have done They could have done something else than just you're a soldier storming the beach. You could have had like a farmer, and he have some sort of backstory. You know, really grasp us. Do something unique and different. You can still have the Battle of Normandy, but why does it always have to be you're storming the beach?
Because that battle is one of the most legendary battles ever. I understand why they would recreate it because it is that, you know, historically huge. It's D-Day, the Normandy beach landings. And Call of Duty is I think they did it once at like the very end of Call of Duty 2.
Well, then even they've done it before.
It was Infinity War. Yeah, like 10 years ago. I think it's okay to do it. It's
not very long ago.
I think it's okay to do it, especially with this generation. I think, you know, you level up, you have good graphics. I think it's a great way to open the campaign because it establishes entering Europe. Because while the synopsis basically is you're in Europe, you're going to Germany, you're on basically one of your guys ends up getting taken, he's a Jew, to an internment camp, and you go off of orders to get him out. And the goal is to get your buddy out of the internment camp. You end up going through the London Resistance. That's the story of it. And I think D-Day is a great way to establish the European just war, you know? Because you're getting there. You know, it starts out, you're in the boat, you're with your buddies, they're like, you're getting ready for the launch, and then you launch it, and now you're in Europe. It's a great way to establish your entrance to that theater of war.
But do you think it's something we haven't seen before?
Oh, we've seen it. But this was definitely the most beautiful, definitely the most intense, and definitely the most graphic.
Well,
I think it's completely okay because of New Gen. I think that was the reason I enjoyed it so much is because this is definitely the most incredible, just immersive experience we've had with D-Day in video games yet. And it's intense. And they definitely took a lot out of Saving Private Ryan for that because I literally watched the movie. I was just
about to say, it definitely sounds exactly like
I watched the movie like 2 hours before the game came out. And it's very similar. But it's definitely a mission I'm going to remember for a long time because the intensity and because the dolphin diving and the dirt flying, you know, it was definitely.
All right, well then that kind of goes into his next question where or the follow-up is, do you think they should try the futuristic shtick again or stick with these known but overused conflicts? And again, I don't think it should do the futuristic thing again. I think that should be a separate game in itself. That's what we've seen with Titanfall, for example.
So I have an opinion on that as well.
And I have no issue with using well-known conflicts. Like, I have no issue with D-Day itself. I have the issue with doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, why does it have to always be the dude storming the beach? Why can't it be, you know, you're someone from the other side? Be a Nazi soldier, but, you know, I'm not saying everyone knows that not all Nazi soldiers were pieces of scum.
Yeah.
Have some like crazy backstory where it's like he has to be a part of the Führer's Reich.
There's a big chunk of this game,
or his family dies. You know, that kind of shit. It's like he's torn between, you know, representing his country, his family's death, or, you know, why does it always have to be the same thing is what I'm saying.
I would like to see like the Pacific Theater. It was kind of touched on in World at War, but I would like to see more of the Pacific Theater.
Like, could you imagine a Call of Duty game during the Vietnam War, and you're
Oh, I've been asking for Vietnam forever. And fun fact, by the way,
you're playing 2 characters, one from each side.
Yeah.
And they're somehow related. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah.
Like, that would be an amazing game that even I might be into.
Yeah, Call of Duty Vietnam existed. Sledgehammer Games, before the 3-year life cycle of it was Infinity Ward and Treyarch, and then they added a third studio because Modern Warfare 3, a ton of the Infinity Ward devs left, and then Sledgehammer had to fill that up. Before that, there's screenshots you can find online for this, but Sledgehammer was working on a third-person single-player game called Call of Duty Vietnam. And I was really upset that got canceled because the studio ended up doing they're now a main studio. So they do have the textures, and they have plenty of the stuff that they started developing the game with. So I could see them doing a Vietnam game. Black Ops, there was a bit in Vietnam. I would really like to see a Call of Duty in Vietnam. Not saying, oh yeah, Vietnam was awesome, but I think it was one of the coolest theaters of war you ever had. Between the weaponry, the area, I would love to see Call of Duty in Vietnam. But touching on the future stuff, I love the future. I'm a huge sci-fi geek, and I really wanted Call of Duty to go to space for the longest time. What I do not want is jetpacks. I want it to be boots on the ground, and I'm okay with maybe some jumping like zero gravity, like Halo jumps. I'm okay with that. I just don't want jetpacks and wall running. I love the future. I think Black Ops 2 is still one of my favorite Call of Duty games. And I think it's cool to be able to have these future-y guns, not laser guns, but creative guns that are unique. I like the colorful environments. I like the writers are able to then write in stories to big cities where you can have these urban combat. I think it's cool. I think it allows the creators and the developers to have a certain amount of creative freedom that can give us a really cool game. Well, if you take a historical event, especially something as sacred as World War II, you have to be you have to stick to what happened, pretty much, and what was realistic for that time. And like with this game, there's not fun gestures, there's not cool camos, because they're trying to keep it realistic. And I get that, but I'd much rather them be doing their own thing, but doing it well. Like, I want a realistic, down-to-earth campaign with good characters. I want a boots on the ground, ballistic weapon, multiplayer. Zombies go crazy. Zombies gets more fun when they just get like high on LSD and create something. So that's fine. But I do think they will go to the future again, and I do think they will do a jetpack Call of Duty again, because the last 3 years, you had a lot of growth. Even though a lot of people hated on it, and there was a lot of
right. They
sold really well, and they brought in a huge new community. And there's actually a pretty sizable community of players whose first Call of Duty was a jetpack Call of Duty. So their whole experience with the game is super fast, super jumpy, and World War II can be really slow and boring for them. So I think we'll see, trade-offs. I think Activision might do a system where they have a side studio do a jetpack game. But the big community, the pros, the YouTubers, you're all going to see them just advocate boots on the ground only. So I think that's where I stand with all that.
Yeah. So we'll definitely get into more Call of Duty stuff next month's podcast. So,
and I think we have more Call of Duty on this list as well.
Yeah, they're all kind of related.
Yeah,
there is one at the bottom there. So, our next question's from Joe, another fellow weebcaster.
He's obviously.
I have dubbed him the Master of Questions.
I was going to say.
Are you ready for this?
Master of Questions. Okay. Yeah.
No. I have dubbed him Master of Questions.
You've dubbed him. Then I'm going to dub Hickey the best podcast questioner of all time. Infinite. That is his name.
In the wake of the AAA gaming nightmare, not sure what he means by that.
Nightmare. Okay, that's an interesting.
What indie or small What do indie or small developers? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the wake of AAA gaming nightmare, what indie or small developers need more credit? So,
I think they're doing fine.
Who's being overshadowed, basically?
I don't think the AAA studios are being overshadowed because the producers, Sony and Microsoft, they're doing these huge support for the good indie games. Like, if a good indie game comes out, a really good one, we know about it because everybody boosts it up and supports it. So I really don't think these indie studios are getting super overshadowed unless you're talking about like just Steam games, Like, all the indie games that I've heard about and I've dug around for and I've found, are supported by the big studios, and they get ported to consoles eventually because they're good games.
I'm more or less in agreement with you, but his question is, what developer or indie developer do you think needs more credit because they're not a AAA studio? Like, to me, something like someone like Way Forward, the people who do the Shantae games, they just made a Mummy game based on the crappy new movie.
Wasn't that Mummy Demastered or something?
Yeah, it's actually really good. It's basically Metroid. Have we heard of that at all? No.
I've heard of it.
Most people have not.
Yeah. Well, if you're really into, like, IGN talks about them, they do indie spotlights. Game Informer does indie spotlights, and any of those games, you see them. If you're looking at
see them, but you don't see. I see what he's saying here about they don't get the credit they deserve, because it's the game that gets the credit, but everyone forgets about who made it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, everyone's talking about Hellblade. It actually, just as an example, Hellblade is actually made by an indie studio, Ninja Theory. Hellblade itself just won Best Action Adventure Award of the year.
Yep.
It took a long time in these articles to see anything mentioned about Ninja Theory itself.
Well, then in all of this, it's a pretty simple answer, because since it's not extremely overshadowed, it's just kind of pushed to the side. They just need to be highlighting the names a little bit more. There needs to just be more credit. This person, I think PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is great because it says the indie developer's name in the title. Everybody knows who made that game because his name's in the title. If you're going to make... if it's an indie game, especially if you're, like, solo writing a script for a game, I think your name should be in the title. I think it should be so-and-so's blank.
That would be a good start. I think in magazines or reviews, possibly getting their name in the title at the beginning when they're talking about the game, like Way Forward's Shantae, Yacht Club's Shovel Knight, Ninja Theory's Hellblade. Possibly coming up with better titles is another thing, because Hellblade's a dumb title. Senua's Sacrifice is a good title.
Yeah.
So, and do those indie games. Right? What is the charm that these indie games are having that AAA games lack?
Well, I mean,
okay, here you go. We're playing. I was playing Sonic Mania. You can tell that there's a lot of love put into these games.
There's definitely a lot more passion from
a lot
people.
More passion.
Yeah.
You can immediately feel it, because
the bigger
playing
games are
something
more
like Sonic Mania, it immediately brought a smile to my face. While AAA games really don't generally do that.
There are some AAA studios, like a great one that I like to reference is 343 Studios, is the studios that now own Halo. Before they were a developer studio, they were the fan club for Halo, like the official fan club. So this dev studio, they work with the community.
When did they take over?
Out there.
When did they take over the Halo
right
franchise?
After Halo Reach. But
is
especially
the
Halo
7th
5.
one?
Yeah, Halo 5 was the most recent one. And while they did make mistakes, they were at every event talking with everybody. They were extremely passionate about the game because, yes, they are just a ton of Halo fans. And they want to make it the best for everybody. Yeah. So there are some AAA studios that pull that off. But I think when you have one guy making his passion project, there's going to be, by default, a little more passion there. So there's a good amount of charm. Yeah.
So, segue into the next question then. Mm-hmm. Why do you think these first-person shooter games and third-person games are so popular?
Because they're intense, they're quick, they fill in a testosterone boost that everybody needs. You get an adrenaline pump. They're fun. You can play them with your friends. Everybody knows who they are. All the cool brands are attached to them. It's pretty.
I think it's a lot more simpler than that. When these games first started becoming popular and the technology finally started being there, it was because you, the player, were putting yourself as the character in the game.
Yeah.
It was the most immersive experience possible. And then with a game like Halo coming out, or that came out at the time, people thought they were this generic character called Master Chief, and that's what made it so popular. You were the alien hunter. You were this Marine infinite soldier person.
Yeah, but nowadays, I mean, dudes
and
generally
still like that. You are the person doing that.
Yeah, but like nowadays, especially, in general, dudes like to play guns with their buddies. Cowboys and Indians on the playground, all that kind of stuff. And once you get a certain age, it's not really okay to do that anymore. So you just play it in a video game. Everybody wants to do it still. Hey, JD, if you want to run around with your handgun shooting people on Broadway, feel free.
Nuh-uh. I use a squirt gun. I
Okay.
use my Super Soaker 50.
Yeah. Dudes like to shoot stuff because it's cool. Alright? Dudes like explosions. Shooters are a testosterone-boosted just mess of adrenaline and explosions and dudes yelling fuck and like... that's what they are.
Right.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I think that question is pretty straightforward. It's a lot. It has everything to do with the immersion. And when you start getting first person shooters on VR to start playing properly, that's going to be the game changer. Just like technology in first person shooter was the game changer then.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So I got JD to download the VR Call of Duty experience for Infinite Warfare. Did you play it?
No, I moved across
Right, I forgot.
country.
All right, next question. Next podcast. Right.
My VR's currently in a box.
Well, take it out of the box and
supporting my little 14-inch TV.
Worn it on your head and gotten on the plane. And...
No, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
So his next question is...
The proper difficulty accessibility matrix for indie devs and the same for big devs. Okay, is he talking about development? Like how easy
No. So difficulty between like easy to man mode.
Oh.
So I believe, personally, if you're going to make a game, there should be a regular game setting, kind of like what Dark Souls does. And then if you're going to put a tougher difficulty setting in there, do something different to actually make it harder. Don't make it so you just lose health quicker with a hit, or you have to pump more bullets into a single enemy. That doesn't, to me, that's not making the game any harder. That's just irritating. A good example is what you would see in Thief 2. Way back, old PC game. If you put the difficulty on a harder difficulty, then the enemies would do different movements. They would do different tracks. They would do different attack patterns. That's what would make it harder.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is a true difficulty matrix. Not this easy. I want to just the enemies are basically non-existent and enjoy the story. Or
something you have to acknowledge is that there's been an upward slope of how easier games get. Since the beginning. Back in the day, games were hard, and now they're generally easier because now that there's so much around you, you can play pretty much anything. Everybody's trying to grab for your attention. If generally like my generation and lower, I enjoy hard games personally, but my generation and younger, if you are if you're playing a game and you're just not, and it's single player or whatever, and you're just not, nothing's happening and you're getting dumped on and it sucks, you're gonna want to go play a different game, like JD with Fortnite. It's not a rewarding game. It's a game where you have to go and do it on your own. He was getting shit on, so he's gonna go play something else because he's not having fun. I think a lot of games now, they have to work hard to try and keep their players entertained, keep their short attention spans going.
Well, online games are strictly as difficult as the people you play online with.
Well, yes, sometimes.
That's not a difficulty matrix.
But there are decisions that, like Black Ops 3, for instance, going back to COD, they made decisions in that multiplayer that literally gave players free kills just for playing. There were things like the specialists. Like, you died a certain amount of times.
That's not a difficulty matrix.
Well, I think it's to an extent it is. It's trying to make something easier for players in the multiplayer.
That would be an accessibility matrix.
Well, then the same for single players.
So that's like having a ranking system in fighting games. So that's an example right there with fighting games. Street Fighter V's ranking system was essentially worthless because a person who shit at him, was always fighting people with 1,000 wins to their belt that are silver level as opposed to my non-existent level. That's really dumb. That's essentially just getting rid of the accessibility matrix, and you don't want to play online anymore because of that.
Right. But even
like you said with Call of Duty, with just giving people kills, that's not accessible.
Even
that's
crossing
not any
that
accessibility.
straight to multiplayer or single player though. they do things to try and keep you in, and they make it easier. They egg you on. They make it super obvious where you need to go. They do all that to try and make you be constantly entertained in getting things and feel like you're doing something good. That's where games are nowadays, generally.
I think that's hand-holding, and that's not making anything accessible.
Right, but then there's a lot of indie devs who came from the old school games, and just for nostalgia's sake, make just a hard crushing game just for fun, like Cuphead.
That's Oh, I conceded in playing that game. I can't beat it. I can't do it, and I don't care about that personally. I'm not good enough to beat it, and that it's as simple as that. And I don't hold the game against anything against the game for that.
Yeah. I think anybody, I think that it's not hard for any studio to, they all know how to make a smart difficult mode and a smart easy mode.
They just don't.
They just don't. Because first of all, they don't think many people are going to be going for the super difficult mode, and they just want to make sure everybody feels good. So they don't.
That's because their quote unquote hard mode isn't actually hard. Yeah. It's just pump more bullets into the enemy.
Right. They do that just to get over with it quickly. Just to make it easy.
So, like, I've occasionally played a game on easy because what's the point then?
I couldn't tell you.
What's the point of playing on a harder difficulty level if it's not actually harder? It's an annoyance, if anything.
They don't.
Because you're like, okay, if I can just stay. Take Uncharted for example. I beat the first one on the hardest difficulty level, right? Hardest possible. Then I played the second one, and I remembered what happened in the first one. Played on a harder level, all I did was duck cover, over and over and over and over again, because all I had to do was pump more bullets into the enemy. So then what is that actually changing gameplay-wise? It's just making the experience needlessly longer. That's not any sort of actual difficulty matrix. I go back to Thief 2 one more time to iterate. The enemies started doing different things. They would have different attacks. That's a proper difficulty matrix. That's what they need to do, and we just don't see that anymore.
Right.
Yeah. All right, we got a rapid fire here.
Okay, where's the line between muscle memory and skill? Skill? Is that game sense more important than the muscle memory? What game have you learned from fighting games? What have you learned from fighting games? Is it transferred to other genres? If so, how? Okay, do you want to hit it first?
Sure. The line between muscle memory and skill is the best example would be muscle memory would be from like action platformers, memorizing the map and enemy patterns because they'll do the same thing. This is more like a retro kind of base with Ninja Gaiden's a great example of that.
Take the single player route. I'll take the multiplayer route.
Okay. The actual skill of that muscle memory is there, considering that the enemy respawns are the ones that end up screwing you over. So you have to be damn good at that muscle memory. So I do consider it a skill.
Yeah.
Is game sense more important? Well, that would be something like Dark Souls, where your sense of your surroundings and what enemies are around there's no real muscle memory in that. That's a different kind of skill altogether. They're still both skills. From fighting games, you first have to get the muscle memory of attacks, and then you have to take that skill that you've developed and take it a step further with knowing what characters are going to do what, or even what your opponents are going to do next. More seasoned fighting game players can go into more detail on that, but that's just my little novice level. It does transfer to other games. For fighting games, action platformers was my comparison. Something like Ninja Gaiden. That learning of the muscle memory of whether it be attacks from a fighting game or a certain platforming pattern requires that same muscle memory. So there you go.
Where's the line between muscle memory and skill? I think everything is skill, and I think everything by default. And I'll take my route from shooters specifically. Is there's shooting and all that is normally by casual players just generalized as muscle memory, but it's also called gun skill. So I think it's always a skill, but then you take certain skills that you have and you try and file them into muscle memory so you can focus on certain things in my head. Like what I do, I have high gun skill, when I'm playing Call of Duty or Halo. Mm-hmm. I know how to hit my shots. I know how to challenge things. I know how to hit angles. I know how to snake. I know how to do that and win a gunfight. And then
I saw Semi in the Call of Duty PV1 predicting your movement where you were going to go, and he would just no scope. He would center the gun and just no scope.
He's lucky as fuck. Okay, come on.
No,
it's a tiny 1v1 pit. Doing. He would hit me in certain spots where he would just make these. I don't want to complain about it, but it's 1v1 pits. They're awkward. But if we're talking like a 4v4, there's the gun skills.
He took you to school with all.
Shut up, JD. I didn't talk while you were explaining. Yes, Semi beat me in in a couple more. He beat me in more 1v1s than I beat him in. Later that day, we played some more, and we were like back and forth. He's got the 1v1 pit down. I haven't put any time to learning the 1v1 pit. He knew my spawns. He knew the guns better than me. He had the bands in his pocket. He had me. Good for him. In general, though, when I'm playing Search and Destroy, in like a respawn game mode, there's the rotations, everything. I generally try and push the gun skill side of it to my muscle memory and not even think about it and just do it. Because that's what you need to do. I think the game sense is the most important part. Because what I need to reserve my brain for at that given time then is trying to predict, trying to find out where I can push, trying to do everything game sense wise. Because I think game sense is way more important than muscle memory. And, everything's a skill. Everything's a skill you can learn. And then once you have a skill that you've learned hard enough, like in anything in life, it becomes muscle memory. And then you can still adapt it. So I personally think, though, that muscle memory is game sense is way more important than muscle memory. Because it allows you to win. But fighting games, I don't like fighting games. I guess it helps me learn to look at the screen and predict a movement better or something. Yeah. I don't like fighting games. I like Smash Bros, which is apparently a party game, but
sure is.
Yeah. All right. Next question: will PlayerUnknown actually finish a game? No. Is early access acceptable for games like PUBG H1Z1? Yes. Yeah. What brought along the endless beta? Minecraft, because Minecraft was actually in process, and he gave it out as a beta to say, hey, what do you like about this game? Do it more. And then it went viral, and he made an insane amount of money off of it while he was developing it. Every other studio was like, hey, that's how you get funded while you make a game. So all these indie studios, to get funded to make their game, they release it early, and they just keep getting paid for it. And they have built-in excuses on why the game's not working. It's pretty simple. So yes, I don't care. I think it's acceptable, So
I don't think it's acceptable. PlayerUnknown will never finish a game.
No, I think he will. The game is nearing 1.0 phase because when it releases on console, it has to be 1.0 phase. They'd said that, and it's like 9 point something right now, and it's releasing on Xbox soon, so it'll be 1.0 phase, and it will be a finished game. So
I still don't think it'll be considered finished.
Well, it'll say 1.0
because that's what they do. That is just what they do, and this whole endless. Technically, Minecraft is still not a finished game.
No, it is a finished game.
I would disagree.
Minecraft's launch. I remember the official launch.
I would say it's when it was put out on consoles, it's half the game that it was.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I remember there was an actual launch. Game. There was a launch day where it got the 1.0 update.
You can launch a beta.
Yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. Meowth900 said, "Who's ready for Mario Odyssey?"
Dude, I wasn't.
I've
ready.
already played Mario Odyssey.
It's a fun game.
Yeah, I was ready a while ago, and it's a fun one. With PUBG becoming a massive hit, what developer do you think will try the Battle Royale game? Who else is doing them? I think Ed.
No, it's like, who do we think would try it next? EA.
EA. I think all the studios, because this is the big thing right now, I think you'll see a lot of people try and just slip their dicks into it a little bit.
I think EA will be the first one to do it.
Yeah. You do. I think Activision will be the first one to do it. I think Call of Duty is going to have a Battle Royale mode. I thought this was going to be the one when they announced the 48 game mode. I thought they were going to put an actual Battle Royale. And I'm not talking about a huge Battle Royale game.
Who makes Battlefield? Is that EA?
Yeah. No, that's DICE. They make it under EA, yeah.
I could see something like that happening easily.
Maybe, but the thing about Battle Royale, I could see that too, but I think Minecraft on console did something great, because you have the Hunger Games PCs on PC and everything, But on Minecraft, they introduced this battle mode, and it was basically this small little area. There's like 12 people, and there's chests. It's a smaller arena, and matches take like 5-10 minutes. I think Call of Duty is going to do something like that with like 20 players or so. They'll have a small arena. It's a fast-paced Twitch shooter, so it's going to be a really quick game. But I think they will actually launch that just because they know it's popular, and why not jump on there? So, what franchise
Stealth from
Battle Royale? Call of Duty, Battlefield could get one. Assassin's Creed with a Battle Royale mode could be awesome. I've been thinking about that. They kind of did that. It wasn't really Battle Royale.
It wasn't successful enough.
It wasn't
but
successful.
Yeah, they have done it.
Yeah.
I don't think
if they
that's
redid
where
it.
I don't think that's where the franchise is heading.
Right. I think Ghost Recon would do a good job at it. The Ghost Recon franchise, especially with like Wildlands, I think they could tackle it.
Well, okay. Well, the SOCOM series on the PS2 era did do a battle royale type mode.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that Rainbow Six online play is already there.
It's not necessarily battle royale. It's still a generalized hero shooter. I really like that game. So,
but if Rainbow Six, I definitely see Rainbow Six definitely having a
no, they would never do
full on battle royale mode.
They would never do it. At least in Siege, they would never do it.
Well, not in Siege, but I could see just a Rainbow Six battle royale coming out.
All right. I don't see Rainbow Six releasing a new game for a very long time, but we will have to. I don't see that, but maybe who knows? Anybody at this point could just jump in if they have an idea that brings a fresh little switch onto the battle royale genre. They could make it. It'd be great.
So to iterate the question, I see EA doing it first. I see Rainbow Six implementing it the right way, and the idea would be something like a bunch of different SWAT teams just going in all willy-nilly, kind of like the Division where you're going for one item.
Yeah.
Rainbow Six always has solid.
Are they going to do another Division? I can see Division doing it. Tom Clancy is going to do a battle royale game, like 100%. That is their place. They're gonna do it. I 100%.
Yeah, they take a long time to develop though.
Yeah,
that's
will have.
I'm trying to predict. I'm trying to predict first goes.
Yeah, first goes is either going to be EA or Activision because they look at the trends and they just pump it out as fast as they can for the money.
Yeah, and then he asked the same question Hickey asked earlier, pretty much. So we will
in the future, or will they stick with boots on the ground type for a while? I think you're going to see. To just give the small answer to the second question, I think they're going to do boots on the ground for one cycle, maybe 1.5 cycles, maybe 2 cycles. But I think they might step back into the future and stay boots on the ground, and I think we will see another jetpack game someday.
How soon? I say 3 years. They'll be back up top in space.
No, or maybe in space, but I don't know with jetpacks. I think they're going to do historical and old school for a while. I think the Treyarch game, we have reason to believe it's a modern shooter. There was a press release where Treyarch was trying to hire modern military experts, and so we think it's modern. I don't see them doing jetpacks for at least 6 years, for at least 2 cycles.
6 years?
6 years.
Wow, that's like another console generation.
Well, no, what you have to keep in mind right now is that the next 3 games are in development right now, based off of the information they have right now. And right now, everybody is high as hell on boots on the ground. It's super awesome. Historical, World War II. So the next 3 games right now, and that's why there were 3 jetpack games, because when Advanced Warfare came out, it was the first game on the cycle, because Sledgehammer starts the cycle. For the first half of Advanced Warfare, everybody was like, jetpacks are really cool. And then right at the end of Advanced Warfare, everybody said, we don't like this anymore.
That would be 3 years from now would be at the end of that cycle.
Right. But right. This is the beginning of the cycle, because Sledgehammer was developing their game, started developing their game about halfway through AW, and everybody was saying, hey, no, jetpacks, we're actually done with this. So they started developing a boots on the ground. But the problem was Treyarch and Infinity Ward were already way into their development cycles, so they had to release those games. So they released the jetpack games. And by the IW was doing so bad, they actually called in another studio to remaster a boots on the ground game. So right now, everybody is like boots on the ground, so you're going to see this cycle do boots on the ground, and I think boots on the ground is going to float hard enough to buy the next Sledgehammer game, everybody's still going to be going boots on the ground. I think the next Treyarch game or the next Infinity Ward game, people are going to say, okay, wait, let's slow down. And then by the end of that next cycle, we might have a jetpack game or two. But I still see the Call of Duty community, anytime a jetpack game comes out, them saying, no, go back to boots on the ground. So I think they might bring in another studio to do a side project.
You make a compelling argument, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think a side project might happen.
I think based on the developer cycle with Call of Duty, because they're on 3 studios, 1 year each. This year was Activision. Next year is going to be the other one.
No, this year is Sledgehammer. Then we're going to have Treyarch. Then we have Infinity Ward. That's the 3-year cycle. So I think, and by the way, also if they ever do another jetpack game, I think they're going to remaster another game. If they go and do a jetpack game, they'll probably just
remaster Black Ops or something.
No, I think they're going to do MW2. I think Modern Warfare 2 is going to get remastered next jetpack game they do, because Activision's a people pleaser. They want everybody's money. And I think I also think remastering Call of Duty games is terrible for the franchise. You can only win the
remaster in a loot box.
Well, no, they wouldn't do that. What they would do is they'd probably do the same thing they did with IW and make it a pre-order bonus. And then make it so you had to have that game installed.
Nope, it's going to be a random drop in a loot box.
They would never do that. But yeah, no.
You're going to have to watch people trying to get the game.
No, you're going to watch people. There has to be 4 people watching, and if somebody gets it, it randomly chooses one of the people to get it.
Oh no, that's awful.
So no,
Activision would do that shit too.
Activision knows the biggest part of the community and the biggest reception they're going to get in all their YouTube community and all that, everything wants boots on the ground, and they're pretty much 100% always going to be sticking with that. But there's a big part of the community that wants jetpacks. So I think if they do jetpacks, they're going to remaster a game, which is a terrible idea because it splits your community, especially in an online shooter, splits the community. It's small. The YouTube community is split. Everybody's split. Everybody hates the other game. Everybody's arguing in the forums. It just brutalizes and destroys your community. So,
fantastic.
Yes, they will go back to the future.
I personally can't wait for this Call of Duty phase to just be done and over with.
Dude, Call of Duty.
But it's going on so long.
Call of Duty. The next Call of Duty is going to, there's going to be a Call of Duty that releases after the apocalypse. I swear to God.
It'll be like
it'll be the last albums. One. It'll come out. They'll be like Black Ops 17 out now.
All right, Drew. Let's move on to the best.
We've been playing Call of Duty since the dawn of time.
We're at an hour here, so let's move on. That was the end of the questions.
Let's rock it.
Oh,
boom!
My God! So I didn't know this was happening until you mentioned it to me, and that was Paris Games Week.
How do you not know Paris Games Week is happening?
Because I always watch the one in Germany.
Oh, wow! There you go, Gamescom.
Yeah, I always watch Gamescom and Tokyo Game Show. I hadn't been aware of Paris Games Week, and holy crap, am I glad I watched this. I was in a Best Western hotel in Albany, New York.
Nice.
Watching this on my dinky little tablet, and I had a cup of tea and I watched the whole damn thing. I could not stop watching. That's how hyped I was for just what PlayStation had to offer. To me, this Paris Games Week, this 2-hour segment was better than all of E3 back in July.
Yeah.
That is how hyped I am.
It was a good show. Paris Games Week always is. I don't know how you've never heard of this.
I don't know, man. Just out of the loop.
Yo, by the way, something they did at Paris Games Week that I do not like, and this is, I will say this, it's about Call of Duty.
Of course it is.
Yes, they announced DLC 1 at Paris Games Week with a release date, and the biggest issue with the game. This launch game has 9 maps, and then it has the Season Pass Carrington map from Call of Duty 2.
Okay.
This game originally had 14 maps, including Carrington. But they're on the disc, they're on the game, but they got cut and used as DLC. So.
The old Capcom strategy.
Yep. Such BS.
Well, I mean, if the game takes that much to develop, that's why the DLC's coming out.
At least they're good maps, alright?
Alright, anyways. So, the first segment in Paris Games Week I want to cover are the PlayStation VR games that were teased and announced. And I'm actually quite hyped for a few of these. Because I have a PlayStation VR, and I quite enjoy it. Have you ever played PlayStation VR yet?
Little bit. Wait.
So
Nope. Not PlayStation.
no,
Oculus. Lots
Oculus. I played a little bit of Oculus. It makes me sick.
Yeah, well, I've just
Like
done
physically
Oculus.
sick, not
Yeah.
because it's PC or anything. But PlayStation VR is actually getting more and more refined with every game that comes out. I think developers are really getting a handle on how to make games for it, and a lot of these games coming out shows that the next gen of gaming could just be this VR trend. I hope it stays. Honestly, I really do. So the first game is Blood and Truth. So this looks like a James Bond type game where you're just this dude shooting people and there's a nice little kind of spy mystery going on.
Yeah.
It looked real simple. It looked straightforward. It looked pretty good.
Nice.
Do you remember it at all?
I didn't watch the full show. I just kind of looked at bullet points. I was.
Drew, you
What
bitch.
was I doing? What night was this?
Monday.
I was hanging out with a female. Hey!
Watching game stuff.
Hey! You can't dock me for that. All right? You can't. Like, I straight up, even the boys in my Discord give me more respect. It was World War II launch night. And I was like, hey, guys, I'm going to be 30 minutes late.
Launch? Jesus.
I'm going to be like 30 minutes late. I'm hanging out with the girl. It's cool. And they're like,
man.
you know what? Go for it. One of them was like, we're sitting here waiting for you while we're getting your dick snacked on. I was like, no. We're just chilling. And they had some respect. Because, you know, girls are kind of cool. Okay? Kinda. Kinda. Okay? That's hard kinda. But, you know, it's, you know, you give them the time, right?
Oh, boy. So the next VR game is called Sprint Vector. It is the future online kind of parkour racer. This looked amazing. I'm all in on it already.
This is a VR game?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I'll tell you when they're not VR anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a futuristic racer. It looks intense as all shit. I'm all in. It was the one that stood out the most to me, actually. Then there's Moss, which is the little mouse adventure platformer kind of puzzle thing, and it works with both the Move and the DualShock controller, so that's pretty cool.
Gotcha.
Then there's Star Child, which looks more story based, and it features a girl with kind of psychic powers. The trailer showed her possibly going through something like astral projection, so I'm hoping. Still don't know much about it, but I'm hoping it's kind of like the game Psyops on the PS2 back in the early 2000s, where you just have a slew of psychic powers and you use them to go across and destroy enemies and whatnot. So what I'm hoping is it's like that, but more story-based instead of just kind of becoming a third-person shooter kind of game with psychic powers. Maybe this will be solving a mystery or something. I think that'd be really cool.
Right, that would be pretty cool.
So I'm kind of hoping. Then there was the Final Fantasy 15 news with the standalone. It's not a DLC for Final Fantasy 15. This is a standalone game.
Is this the third
where it's like
shooter?
Monster Hunter, but you're fishing in Final Fantasy 15 world.
Nice.
Surprisingly enough, it actually looks really fun.
There you
go. It had all the characters from Final Fantasy 15. Did you enjoy the game or play it at all?
I played it a bit. It was my favorite Final Fantasy game that I've played in a long time. Just because I love the world. I love that world. Something about that game I just enjoyed. Just exploring. It was so pretty.
It was simply really cool,
yeah,
and
it was just a cool
the gameplay and trailer they actually showed actually has me interested in it now.
Yeah, I really want to play the other standalone DLC, the third-person shooter one with the blonde kid. That one looked in like the Antarctica. That one looked interesting.
Oh,
it was like Project something or other.
Yeah, it was kind of unannounced still, basically.
Yeah, that one looked interesting.
Yeah, there was a lot of PSVR games on the horizon that looked pretty cool. So those were just some of the ones that stood out to me. Then there was the Final Fantasy 15 DLC that's coming out, the episode Ignis, and this looks like a top tier kind of story for an RPG.
Isn't this the one I was talking about?
No.
No. Gotcha.
I don't think so.
Gotcha.
I think you were talking about something else. But Ignis is the cook dude, and something happened in midway through Final Fantasy 15 story,
DLC.
and this kind of covers what happened to him. So I'm pretty hyped for this episode to come out. For some reason I'm into buying DLC these days.
All right, let me see.
If I enjoy the game enough, I will definitely get the DLC. That's kind of where I'm heading. But that does it for VR. Which one of those did I mention that stood out to you the most?
That the parkour one. I'm talking about episode Prompto.
Oh,
that came out in June. Yeah, there's the ice. That one looked interesting. Also, there's Assassin's Creed DLC in Final Fantasy 15, which is kind of cool. I can look like an assassin. I like that.
It's okay. In Rayman Legends, you can put the Assassin's Creed hood on Rayman, which is funny. Yeah, the inline one is my number one. And then everything else was just too unknown. Honestly.
Right.
So, but yeah, inline racing in VR, give me it now. So now we move on to the heavy hitters. You ready for this shit?
Yeah.
This isn't VR. Ready, Drew?
Yep.
Tell me you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I need to hear it in my ear.
I am ready!
All right. This is by Sucker Punch. Do you recognize that name at all?
Yep. I'm excited for this one.
The Sly Cooper, the infamous people.
This is, out of all of them, I'm really excited for this one.
It's a game I didn't even know I wanted.
I want it though.
I didn't know it existed, and then all of a sudden, Ghost of Tsushima. Holy fuck!
It looks sick.
So this game's about a samurai, and you're fighting in a war, and shit's going down. That world that they introduced looked
so cool,
insane.
Looks so good.
Oh my god!
It's what video games need to focus on more. It's an immersive experience. What draws me in more than anything, and like the last game that JD was talking about in the last episode, like Ease, what's intriguing about that is the world. I want cool worlds to look at. That isn't, my downtown, like cars driving down the road. I want something that looks incredible and it's just amazing to see. And this is one of those games.
My god. There's a scene that they showed where the samurai is approaching this one random area. They said you can go to all these areas. Everyone plays the game a different way because it's so open world. So it's definitely you can tell it's definitely feeding off the Breath of the Wild kind of formula that's now developed.
Yeah,
and
I love it.
He's pulling up. He goes into this he's pulled up in this like authentic Japanese temple in the background there, all surrounded by these beautiful flowers, and they just pop on the screen, and you just want to be there. You want to be that samurai.
I'm excited. This is one of those single-player games that I'm excited to play. So
this game reminded me immediately of the Tenchu series, of what that series could be if it was made in 2017 today. This was my takeaway of Paris Games Week. This game, Ghost of Tsushima. So it looks like the must-buy.
I took away this, definitely, but I also took away that Last of Us trailer.
Okay, so let's go into the Last of Us trailer.
Didn't
really tell us much when you think about it.
No, but that trailer got me hyped. That was intense.
Do you think that was Ellie and she's just super jacked and using her little...
No, that's not Ellie. That is not Ellie.
Okay, I wasn't quite sure who it was. Was it a new character?
That's a new character. That's what was so interesting about this. It was a new crew, new everything. This was completely new. That's why
that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's why I was intrigued. It was new. It wasn't Joel and Ellie. I still love Joel and Ellie, but I wanted something that intrigued me more than Ellie just being upset and killing people, because that's such a sequel thing. This looks fresh.
Yeah, because they called it Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Not Last of Us 2.
So which makes me think they have a real legit tied-in story here that they wanted to tell. Because I remember in the interviews, they said if we don't have a story to tell, we're not going to make a sequel. And they say this is specifically part 2, so that makes me think the first one was a part of a series. That means that I think there's a purpose. There's something there's going to be a payoff. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, it was very gruesome. Showed this group of bandits or cult leaders or something, and this one badass looking chick. I mean, she's got pectoral muscles bigger than some girl's boobs.
That's great.
You know, and she's being hung because I guess she's like Ellie, where she's infected but not changed.
Yeah.
And
my prediction for what this game is going to be, because we saw in the first trailer she was upset and she was going to kill them all. I think she's now established she has friends, and I think this is way down the line. The world is now kind of used to the apocalypse, and I think there's that some weird religious cult that is now kind of doing stuff.
So
and I think
this is even more. Think this is even more future based?
I think this is like post apocalypse. I think there's still the zombies, but everybody's now established in their world. And I think Ellie's a part of this crew of people that don't turn. And I think now this weird religious cult is kind of against them, and they're the bad guys. And I think she has friends, and I think she's angry, and she's going to hunt the cult down and basically kill off the cult. So I think this is a revenge story, and I'm excited because I want to play. And I hope we get to primarily play as Ellie in this game, not Joel. Or maybe we play as Joel and it's an outside perspective.
I don't think you're going to be Ellie at all. I think you're going to be this badass other chick.
Maybe a little bit. I really don't know. We don't know anything about this game except for it looks awesome.
I was thinking that if it's Ellie or not, that somehow humans are now evolving at this point to the virus or plant disease that it is.
Definitely.
And it's changing their bodies on a molecular level. That's why that girl looked so freaking strong and scary looking.
Yeah. I think this game is going to be amazing. And again, I really hope they have the multiplayer from the first one in this game. Because that multiplayer is so much fun.
Oh, I never played it. Was never interested.
Dude, do you still have The Last of Us? Can you download that or something? I say just try it. Because it is fun. It's really fun.
Really quick, they showed a little bit bigger trailer of Monster Hunter World, and exclusive to PlayStation, you can play as Aloy. Yeah, so as a big Horizon Zero Dawn fan that I am all over.
In that trailer, she fit in perfectly to that world too.
Oh, she did. Yeah, exactly. And you can use her bow, and it looks all souped up and futuristic. It looks great. So you got to be a PlayStation Plus subscriber. As far as I know, it comes out in December. You got to be a PlayStation Plus subscriber. You download the beta to Monster Hunter World, and you automatically get Aloy if you're with PlayStation.
Nice.
So, a few podcast episodes ago, I was very hesitant on Monster Hunter World. I think I'm now.
I might get that game. It looks cool. I don't know though.
Everything I'm reading and what I'm being told by the developers is it's the most beginner-based game, Monster Hunter game that you can get, that newbies can get into, and it's also the most flexible in the gameplay itself. So that's something I've been looking forward to for a long time, because the game looks amazing, and the franchise is wildly successful, and it's something I've wanted to be a part of. But again, I'm not a big online gamer. And this looks to have more of a story mode. And if I can beat Aloy in the Monster Hunter world, give me it.
It looks pretty sick.
Yeah, and the monsters look beautiful. There's one part of the trailer where this like big butterfly creature with wings just snatches a giant dinosaur-ish creature right off the ground, and they're fighting in midair while the character's just kind of looking at it happening in front of them.
Makes me really wish we had gotten that dragon game on the Xbox that got canceled. You remember that?
It looked like trash to begin with.
What? It looked sick. You had a freaking dragon that was fighting another dragon. Then you had like some headphones and big
nothing going on around it. Everything was all bugged out. It's Xbox. They don't make anything new anymore. I shit on that. I shit on that console so much.
Yeah, well, Sea of Thieves is gonna be cool.
I sure hope you're right.
So.
There'll be many Xbox owners very disappointed. So, anyways, this next game, I'm all in on it as well. It's called Concrete Genie.
Okay.
Did you see this?
Nope.
So this is one about your kid getting bullied in this, let's call it a Blade Runner-esque world. You know, a lot of skyscrapers, old dark city, shit going on everywhere. Well, it looks, from what I was interpreting was this kid's being bullied, and in order to kind of escape reality,
you gotta kill them all.
He paints. Well, no. What he does is
you gotta take like a rifle, and you gotta go and you gotta show them that you're a strong kid. And
this kid was not a psychopath.
Oh,
he was very sad,
okay.
And what he does to escape it is he paints on the sides of walls and buildings, and his paintings come to life. And then it interacts with the character and interacts with the environment to solve puzzles.
Right.
So it's extremely colorful. It looks like you can make basically anything you want almost, to a degree.
So it's like Scribblenauts, but with bullies?
Yeah, it sort of looked like Scribblenauts, just a lot more in depth and a lot tougher to develop, it seems. For example, there's an area that's being blocked by a curtain of some sort. So you end up drawing on the wall a creature, and you give this unique creature the ability to breathe fire, and then the creature will come to life and breathe fire and make the curtains go away. And you can put like cool trees and environments around them, and the character will interact with it. It looked very sweet, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait for it. Honestly, it looks like a surreal type of experience.
Right.
We just don't get a lot of those anymore. Everything's like whole action packed and badass and terrible story with apocalypse and everywhere. Even though post-apocalyptic worlds are the best,
mm-hmm.
This looked very simplistic. Then there was Detroit Become Human, which you're hyped for.
I'm not. This game's been announced for too long. I'm in the place where I just don't care about it until I see a good review and I'll play it. So, yeah, I am hyped for it. Yes. Yeah. This is gonna be. I like this studio a lot.
So I'm still not totally sold on Detroit Become Human. The stories look cool, but I'm still very hesitant to what's possible. Like, what are your actual consequences in game?
Yo, I'll pay.
Because for all I know, it could be the same as Beyond Two Souls. Like, the story was there, but the game was garbage.
I'll pay half the game if you pay half the game, and then you can just share play it to me. I'll play it. You can have it. Because it's one of those games that I don't want to pay $60 on either. Because it doesn't look worth $60. But
no, I don't. You know what? I'm gonna look up real quick what Beyond Two Souls got as a review. Beyond Two Souls review. Yeah, it has a 6 out of 10, 72 on Metacritic.
I know. It's one of those games that isn't really critically good, but you have a really like experience with. Because there are some pieces of media that do that where, people don't really like it. Like my parents' favorite movie is a movie called About Time. It's about like 18% on Rotten Tomato, I think. But they absolutely adore this movie because it's as far as it's not a critically great movie, but it's a really good movie. I enjoy this movie too. It's really good.
Well, here's the thing. We know the interactive movie genre is capable of making a good immersive game. Look at Heavy Rain. And then you have essentially a failure, which is Beyond Two Souls, because no matter what you did in the game, there were no consequences. And I'm rewinding back to my experience at Fan Expo in Toronto in August of this year. Or no, I'm sorry, September.
Mm-hmm.
where my buddy played the game and he was very meticulous about everything, got all the clues, made all the right decisions.
Dude, I was a freaking
Meanwhile, I played
when I played that game.
Yeah, I played as fast as I could, and pretty much did everything wrong. But then when I got to save the girl that was on the roof, all I did was press X at the right time, and I saved her. I was like, well, what the fuck? He had 99% success, and I had like 28.
You're just naturally talented and awesome, and he's not.
No, so. That's the problem. There's no consequence.
Yeah.
So if the whole game's going to be like that...
I think that was the demo. I think that, honestly, was toned down for the E3 demo. Everything was way easier at E3, just so you were like, oh, that was cool, I did good. I think just because I played that studio's games... Those games are built off of consequences. Those games don't work unless the consequences really hurt. I think that game is going to be cutthroat.
But that's what I'm saying. In Beyond Two Souls, there were no consequences. So what's this one going to be like? Is it going to be just like that? Or is it going to be like Heavy Rain?
I think this is going to be a lot more like Heavy Rain.
Because the story's definitely there. I mean, I'm very into the story. I'm not into the game yet.
Right.
The last one here is God of War Valhalla, because I refuse to just call it God of War. We already have a God of War, and it's really good.
This game, I've never been a God of War fan because I'm just not a fan of that genre. This game, I want to play this game though.
You're not a fan of the hack and slash?
No. I get kind of bored because I'm just doing the same thing, you know. And I realize that is very an ironic statement I just made, but yeah, no, I'm not. Hack and slash was just never my thing. But this game looks, in the story of them never intrigued me. This game looks good. I'm intrigued by the characters, the world, the story. So I'm excited.
It's definitely I'm definitely gonna get the game. There's no doubt. I'm way into God of War. The only one I've never had an interest in playing was Ascension. So this God of War Valhalla edition,
yeah,
which they totally missed the boat on calling it that.
Valhalla edition.
They could have called it God of Valhalla.
Could have called it God of Happiness.
Or Thor's Wrath or something, They could still have Kratos. Kratos kicked out of Greece, all pissed off.
Dude, I would love to play a God of War game.
I'm going to fucking Norway.
That would be awesome. Especially on next gen if they made it all pretty and shit.
So Dad Kratos teaching his son, showing him... The trailer showed he's got an axe and he can use it in various ways. The mechanics of using the axe of it, him throwing it, and then you press a button and it comes back into his arm real quick. That was badass as all hell.
The story of the game is essentially Daddy Kratos going on an outward bound trip with his son so he could build some character, become a real good member of society and learn to kill.
Oh yeah,
kill
yeah, from Kratos, sure.
No, his dad's got to teach him something, right? I mean, look at Marcus Phoenix. He taught his son to be cool. Okay?
Oh god. I think Kratos is going to die at the end of this game.
I do too. I think Kratos is gone. I think they're going to get it.
I think it's. Well, he doesn't have to be gone. I mean, they could easily revive him.
Well, no, what I think is going to happen at the end of the game, he's going to get killed by the final boss, and then his son's going to take him, and he's going to I'm going to get
that
you.
That would be an epic finish.
Yeah, and then his son's going to kill him, and you're going to end the game with the son, and then the next game, inevitably, you're going to be... I think it's going to be a little in the future, and you'll be baby Kratos.
Here's my prediction.
Okay.
He's out teaching Kid Kratos all the tricks of the trade.
Kid Cray?
Yeah. Something bad happens. They're pseudo out for revenge against this one Norwegian god. Such as that god killed the kid's original family, and Kratos kind of found him. And at the very end, the same god kills Kratos by sort of tricking the kid. Let's say time has passed 10 years or so. So now the kid's in his late teens. Gets real pissed off, and now he's super pissed off at all the gods because they were all in on it because they heard things from Greece. Don't fuck Kratos. He's bad. Get him.
Right.
And that's where it'll set up kind of new Kratos.
I predict you can throw animals in this game.
Well, no game is complete in 2017 unless you can kill small creatures.
Yeah, I think you can, like, you're in a boss fight and there's, like, cows around you in destructible environments. I think you can grab that cow and just throw them at the boss.
Oh, boy. But I'm all in. Valhalla, gimme.
Cool.
So just to reiterate Paris Games Week of the games that we went over here, PSVR was Blood and Truth, Sprint Vector, Moss, Starchild, Final Fantasy 15 Fishing, and then the episode Ignis. The PS4 games announced were Ghost of Tsushima, Concrete Genie, Monster Hunter World with Aloy as a playable character, Detroit Become Human, God of War Valhalla, and Last of Us Part 2. Which of the games, Drew, are you most hyped for?
The samurai
Gotta
one
pick
where you
one.
throw the animals and you have a cool flower world.
I 100% agree. Ghost of Tsushima is my takeaway from Paris Games Week.
Do it.
100%.
It's going to be sick.
I can't believe it. I rate Paris Games Week a freaking 9 out of 10. I loved everything about the presentation. I loved the panel. It beat the shit out of E3. This is what I want to see out of game announcement cons or whatever you want to call it.
I give it a 9.1 because I'm a nicer guy than JD. So.
Oh, God. Okay.
Feel free to tweet me. I'm a nice guy.
I forget what I gave Sony at E3, but it had to be like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. It wasn't all that great. Same thing with Xbox and Nintendo. I think I gave an 8 or a 9. So
nice. Nintendo did really good at E3.
But
dude, I cannot say enough. The Nintendo booth on the floor was the coolest thing I've been in my entire life. They literally created what was the name of the town in Odyssey? The city?
New Donk City.
They created New Donk City at E3. It had the music bursting, and
cool.
it was incredible because it was immersive. They had actors, they had bands. It felt like I literally stepped into a real New Donk City. It was mind blowing. They did an incredible job at it. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Well, speaking of New Donk City, that's one of the games.
Let's hit Odyssey first. Let's try and.
No, we're doing. Are you kidding me? We're doing Odyssey last. Are you shitting me?
Okay, dude, it's such a long podcast, man. We're doing
Odyssey last.
All right, let's do it.
We're gonna go down the list on the games here, pretty much in the order they came out, more or less.
Okay.
Real quick, Forza 7 and GT Sport came out. Gran Turismo Sport.
Yeah. Forza is about as good as it is whenever. You know, it's Forza. Nothing changes.
No.
Okay, fine.
No. Forza 7 is a piece of shit.
All right, piece of shit. GT Sport.
It is a piece of shit. I hated everything about that game. It is everything I hate in modern gaming.
I thought Shadow of War was everything you hate in modern gaming.
No, Forza 7 put that to shame.
But Forza came out before that game.
Shadow of War was actually kind of fun. Forza 7 wasn't fun. So here let me explain. Forza 6 was a fine racing game. It was good. Mm-hmm. A lot of cars to collect. There was arcade modes. Good little story thing going on. Forza 7 is filled with microtransactions, loot boxes, and constantly reiterating the fact that you're collecting cars. You're not. It doesn't feel like you're in a racing game. It feels like you're in a collectathon. Okay?
Yeah.
So, the racing's incredibly easy. It's incredibly easy. The game looks great, graphically.
That's because it's Forza.
Don't get me wrong. Because it's a racing game on a modern console.
Well, it's a racing game on Xbox funded by Microsoft. That's why it looks good.
Well, no. Every new console since the beginning of time.
Stack a racing game up on the PS4 against Xbox.
GT Sport looks better than Forza 7, first of all.
Okay. All right.
It is graphically
I'm not having
superior.
this argument because I am by default. I'm less knowledgeable about all of this. So if I keep talking, I'm just going to start speaking out of my ass.
That being said, Drive Club from like 4 years ago still looks better in a lot of ways than Forza 7 and GT Sport because that's how way ahead of its time it was. But anyways, right now GT Sport looks the best compared to Project Cars 2 and Forza 7. Mm-hmm. And there are certain elements that each of those three games are graphically superior in some way. Like there's no rain effects in GT Sport, well, there is in Project Cars 2, where the weather is the main focus of that game, as we mentioned in a previous cast. But Forza 7, you have so many cars to collect, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the whole objective in the game seems to be just collect the bigger and better cars. You're not actually out there to race them, was my takeaway. It was just the collecting. It was almost like I was collecting Hot Wheels as a kid,
mm-hmm.
except not as cool as Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels are pretty awesome.
Hot Wheels were awesome.
Fucking love Hot Wheels.
Forza 7 is just pictures of cars.
Yep.
So, I felt the racing was incredibly simplistic. This is a good game for people trying to get into racing games for the first time, but I would reiterate that by saying, don't buy Forza 7, buy Forza 6.
No, don't buy Forza 6, buy a Forza Horizon game.
Well, okay, I was going to get to that. So, a week later, when I went to go get Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, at the Best Buy, they had Forza Horizon 3 on demo. And I was immediately more impressed with that game than Forza 7.
Because that game, they take all the graphics and everything, and they apply it to this big, crazy world where you can do all kinds of awesome stuff and super crazy fast cars, and it's fun. Because it's video gaming.
Yes, that game was fun. Forza 7, I never once felt like I was having fun. Every race felt like a task forced upon me just to collect cars. On top of the fact that microtransactions and loot boxes were constantly in my face.
Mm-hmm.
It was so annoying.
Forza Horizon 2 accomplishes all of that with very little microtransactions.
Yeah, I would say get Forza Horizon series.
The Forza Horizon 2, yeah. I think
the Horizon series is massively better than anything
really
anything I felt in Forza 7. If Project Cars 2 still didn't have so much improvement over the driving mechanics, I would say that's even better than Forza 7. But right now they're tied.
Alrighty.
So GT Sport has its own flaws. Now, I do like the game. It's very simplistic. It's very bare bonesy for a racer. It's very limited in a lot of ways. Like I said, there's not a lot of weather elements you can race on in tracks. That's kind of disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
But the skill level required to race in Gran Turismo Sport is immense. How much do you know about this? And
I watched a tournament.
What,
I don't
have
know.
you played Gran Turismo games in the past?
Gran Turismo games. I've watched a couple tournaments, but that's it.
Okay, so one thing one thing about Gran Turismo is its love for it teaches you to love cars, and this game definitely does that. There's a lot of simplistic little missions. It puts you on a track. It's beat the best time with this circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. It looks gorgeous. Each car feels individually different, which I thought was really cool. I don't have a racing wheel. I have a regular controller, and even then, you could tell the difference in every car on just a small scale. You can even tell when you change tires out on the track. That's how detailed the Gran Turismo has gotten. And yeah, you get that in Forza, but not to the amount or level that Gran Turismo is in this game.
Mm-hmm.
The VR section is outstanding. It's a must buy if you have a VR. I can't reiterate that enough. It is fantastic. Now, the car I happen to own in reality is also in the game, so there's kind of a funny moment there with a friend because we both have cars that are in the game. And you're like, so do you want to choose your car? I go, why would I choose my own car in a video game? Wait, I could have my car in the mountains of Switzerland? That actually sounds pretty cool. So we were doing things like that. The one feature that the game is separating itself for, and I really appreciate this out of what Gran Turismo has done, is they've kind of implemented a courtesy driving system, a merit system, you might say. where if you play online, you can't just ram cars off the road. It's trying to teach you to actually be a racer. So you can't just rear end someone, throw them out. You'll get docked points. You'll get docked a lot of time. So even though you might be in first place, you're still like 30 seconds behind.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really changed the online aspect of the game a lot. It's a brand new racing experience, which honestly I've never seen in a racing game before. It's really cool. You even experience that racing AI. Like AI actively try to avoid you. There was a lot of missions where I would accidentally take a turn too sharp, run off the road heavily, and I would be docked time, or I would be forced to slow down. They would say, "Okay, you have to slow down, otherwise we're gonna dock you. We're gonna start docking you time." I was like, "Oh, holy shit!"
Right.
Yeah, it's a really cool new feature, and you could tell this is kind of the VR is the big sell,
Mm-hmm.
and this mode is the sell.
Right.
A lot of the more intricate systems that we're more familiar with Gran Turismo seems to be heading towards what we're going to see in, say, Gran Turismo 7 somewhere else down the line. You can definitely feel a lot of that. Is it a must-buy? I would say no, unless you have VR.
Right.
If you don't have VR, I say pretty much just skip this game altogether.
Okay.
Yeah.
As
good as I'm saying it is, I don't think there's enough there to justify it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right.
Yeah, and the game has to constantly be online and connected to the servers. That's really annoying.
Yeah, that thing. That's a thing.
It's super annoying.
These years.
Like, I hadn't had internet for days because of the move, and basically playing GT Sport was almost worthless.
Right.
I had to manually save everything all the time, and that no server connection hit me every time I was going to race and after a race.
Nice.
I just couldn't. I just didn't feel like playing it. It was just too irritating.
Right.
So, thoughts, Drew, over the two games?
I don't have much thoughts because I'm not a racing game guy at all. That's one of my lower genres. I'm not even really big of a car guy. So they're both pretty. Car games look real pretty. Like Mario Kart is so beautiful. Like nothing rivals it, honestly. And also Forza and GT. So. Woo! Racing.
Are you surprised about what I said about the both?
I'm interested. I'm I was intrigued, and but you're the expert on that kind of stuff, so.
I wouldn't call myself an expert. I'm just a seasoned driving game guy.
You're the local know it dude. You're the do get it guy.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, if I didn't have a Best Buy gift card to spend,
mm-hmm.
I definitely would have felt like I wasted my money on GT Sport.
Right.
Honestly. So why don't you talk about the next game?
Alrighty. The Middle-earth franchise has hit us with another game called Shadow of War, which is basically Shadow of Mordor, but instead of Mordor, it's war. So, it's pretty... I didn't play too much of it. I just ran around and killed some dudes through the Nemesis system. That's all I really like about the game. I'm not that crazy of a fantasy nerd, dude. So, JD does not like this game because of the microtransactions. And yes.
Oh, it's irritating.
Yeah, that's current AAA title. It's a Ubisoft, right?
No, it's like WB.
WB.
It's the Batman guys.
Yeah, it's how you make money nowadays. Yeah, I hate it, but it's, you get to stab dudes. It's cool. Like, it's Shadow of War. It's a Middle-earth game. It's Lord of the Rings. It's pretty much the same thing as the first one. They've just adapted the Nemesis system, and now you can make armies. And you can. They just made it more
what is
in-depth.
the Nemesis system?
Nemesis system is basically this AI system that essentially builds not really a government, almost an empire of people. Like, so it builds this giant army. Let's say every enemy in the game is one army. So let's say they build this one army. It ranks certain people throughout that entire army. So like this guy controls all this stuff. This guy's a boss here. And they take each other's place. They fight, and it automates this whole like evil dudes world of control and government and all that kind of stuff. And allows you to hunt these people down and slowly take down this army. And it's all randomized. So it's just a lot of fun to run through all that and kind of topple an empire, you know? So
I did think it was cool that when you would come across one of these orcs, that when they would kill you, he would the snarky comments was just nonstop in this game.
Oh, orcs.
Coming across a new orc, he's just like, "Hey fucker, what are you doing?" And if he kills you and you come back, he'd be like, "Ah, that motherfucker, you coming back for more?"
Do they actually swear in this game, or is that just?
Oh no, I'm just over exaggerating it, but that's pretty much it. I mean that's a cool thing. I not really experienced anything in another game like that. I thought that was very interesting. It definitely got me immersed in the world. However, the fact that they treated the orcs themselves as disposable cards, essentially, I didn't like, because then I ended up spending so much time just in a menu, just getting rid of them and making a new one and leveling them up. And if you got an orc to a certain level, such as legendary, they're pretty much worthless. They died immediately in battle. It was so dumb. The other part is, the further I got into the game, you keep getting stronger and stronger orcs. But if you forget one time to send one of these stronger orcs back to a past castle that you got to defend, you're going to lose that castle immediately. And you don't really, and the game doesn't really put you in the state of mind to get you to want to do that or even care, because the story is what's supposed to carry this, and the story is garbage.
Yeah, well,
like, holy crap, was I bored. I mean, the main character is nobody. He's a nobody. Why should I care about this guy?
He's a ranger. His name's Tally, and it's a cool
God.
name.
You come across, like, anyone he talked to was more interesting than him himself, and he's supposed to be the main character. That's so dumb. The written dialogue in this game was beyond dull.
Alrighty. Well, yeah.
Like, as you said, all you did was go around, kill shit, and then that was it. That was fun.
This is
Didn't
the
even
game.
mention the story.
This is the game that I play when I just want to listen to a podcast at home. Because you just run around and mindlessly kill stuff, and it's entertaining. So,
I thought the fighting system was very well refined.
It's fun and
satisfying. It was a lot of fun.
Right?
It was fun riding dragons and lighting orcs on fire. I did find it a bit difficult to know, say, what particular orcs or this orc was weak to. So, like, one orc is weak to poison, but only up to a certain amount. So if you give him too low of a dose, he'll, like, trick you into thinking he died. And then, you go up to him and he, like, puts his hand on you. Like, you thought that was enough poison to get me, fucker. Ah, ha, ha, ha. There's only so much things like that can grasp you after a while. So I had fun in the limited amount of time I played, but I don't feel like I need to play anymore because I felt like I played all that the game had to offer.
But dude, when you're listening to a podcast at home, just go play it. It's fun.
No.
It's okay.
And honestly, I just could not get it. I've never been a Lord of the Rings guy. That fantasy world is so unappealing to me.
Yeah, same.
I think if you're into that world, you might you'll obviously like the game more. Mm-hmm. But holy shit, with a story that dull, I don't even know how you could even get into that.
Yeah.
Just throws you out of the world. And of course the microtransactions are absolute shit. Mm. I figured I'd talk about the other aspects of the game besides microtransactions, because you could easily hate a game for something stupid like that. Go back to Forza 7, that's all the game felt like. Obviously, there's more to Shadow of War than the micro-pain system. Right.
Definitely. Anyway, yeah, so there's not much more to Shadow of War. It's pretty simple. South Park. Dude.
Fractured butthole.
Fractured butthole. Not butthole. Hole? Not butthole. It's hole. As in a whole, like a whole pizza that I ate earlier. So, it's a South Park show. Okay, it's the South Park stick of truth, but with a fractured butthole instead of a stick of truth. You know? Like it's like you're playing a South Park episode, and it's canon, and it's fun, it's funny, it's cool. The combat system they upgraded is fun. You know, like it's really it. It's pretty simple as well. If you like South Park, or if you like funny stuff, you'll love this game.
If you have a raunchy sense of humor, yeah, it's definite must buy. Takes place directly after the Stick of Truth, and it immediately jumps in. However, the first hour and a half is a slog.
Yeah.
It was so boring and monotonous. Yeah, there's some jokes and hit there, and they make you laugh, but the whole getting you into the groove of what makes the game happen just took way too long. But once you get past that hour and a half, the game's great.
Right.
That's one real drawback. The other drawback I felt was the combat system. Yeah, it was definitely more refined than Stick of Truth, because Stick of Truth was very bare bones. You could tell that they hadn't really done it much before. Mm-hmm. I felt like, because this time you have a kind of a grid, kind of like a real-time strategy grid. 3x9 mostly is what I found. It reminded me a lot of the Final Fantasy X battle system. Going around, you can certain moves will hit certain areas of the boxes, like 3 in front of you and 1 to the right, and that was really cool. All the characters are now superheroes, and they have different superpowers. Which of the 3 powers did you choose when you were playing?
Shoot, I don't even remember. I played on a friend's account, and it was
that's how I played.
I forgot what guy he was.
Did you make him black?
Yes.
Did you make the character black first of all?
Yes, he was very black. I kept making like sarcastic rap references.
Oh no! I made the character look slightly Puerto Rican, so just above the medium difficulty level. For those that don't know, the difficulty setting is by choosing the character's color of his skin. So paley ass white is super easy, and then black is super hard. Mm-hmm. But this is kind of that difficulty question that we hit earlier. The game doesn't really need a difficulty level because you're not playing it for the battle system. You're playing it for the constant lieu of jokes and funny story that's happening in front of you in South Park. Mm-hmm. And you could tell the developers kind of were going for something like that. And for a good joke, even with the difficulty setting. There's lots of immediate collectibles and tasks and side quests, kind of, I think, distracting from the game a bit. So, like, pooping in every toilet, beating up X amount of 6th graders will level up. It hits you with so many of these things right away. You're kind of overwhelmed, and you don't really see a point to doing it other than just kind of being an achievement hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care for that in games in general, and as much as I like South Park and this game in general, there's just some drawbacks there.
Yep.
I chose the Fire Blast ability,
mm-hmm.
kind of like Firestarter.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with that, yeah. I tried playing a little bit with the Strong character. He's just super strong, like the Thing. It was okay. The good thing is, though, that no matter what superpower you choose at the beginning, you get so many upgrades and different little extra powers over the course of the game that it kind of makes it mute. Mm-hmm. So this kind of also reiterates the fact that first hour and a half is pretty much a slog until it gets going.
Right.
So I say it's a must-buy if you're a South Park fan.
Yeah, if you're a South Park fan, 100%. Because there are just going to be references to the games in the show as well, you know. Yeah. So
I was laughing at a ton of the jokes. I mean, mm-hmm. the best joke at the beginning was definitely when you're in a church and you're in the back room with a bunch of priests, mm-hmm. And the priest pulls out an anal bead chain and starts whipping himself with it.
Oh my god! All right, well. So speaking of priests whipping each other with anal beads, Evil Within has got a lot of weird demon stuff and demons have anal beads and priests are in it. I think dead priests are probably in it. There's probably some dead priests in those crazy face monsters.
Yeah. How much of this did you
Not
play?
much,
Evil
not
Within
much.
2. Because this was a very
Neither of us played much of this. I enjoyed what I played. I didn't buy it.
Much of it. I played 6 fucking hours of this game.
Yeah, well, 6 hours is 6 hours.
If anything, I played Forza 7 the least, South Park the second least, and Shadow of War the third least.
But yeah, no. Evil Within 2, definitely. I think JD is gonna definitely gripe about the issues, but it's it's a little spooky, some crazy monsters, action. It's a modern game. It's not an amazing game. It's not a terrible game. It's one of those games that you can just pick up at GameStop and play, especially with that new renting program they have.
Well, oh yeah, they are doing that. Yeah.
Which I'm actually going to utilize. It's going to make me go back to GameStop. So I'm just going to rent all the podcast games now and play them for myself.
There you go. So Evil Within 2, very hyped game, horror game coming out in October, had a lot to get behind it, right? Mm-hmm. People are there are a lot of people that are heavy fans of the first game, which I was not a fan of. I thought it was actually pretty trash. I will immediately say that Evil Within 2 does everything. It improves on everything that the first one should have been. This is the game that the first one should have been, basically. Right. The story takes place immediately after, and of course it makes no sense and is immediately convoluted. Mm-hmm. Music is good, I guess. Yeah.
All right, Ass Creed Oranges.
No. I got a lot more to say.
Really?
Too.
Okay.
I really do.
Go at it. Rapid fire.
The control scheme is pretty wonky. The crouch and run are examples of it being just off. The controls felt off in this game immediately as well. Visuals are fantastic. I love the opening scene of your house being on fire and you have to go find your daughter, and then your daughter was like this evil creature thing. Mm-hmm. The whole purpose of the game is you go into, it's basically Inception / Total Recall, where you're in this kind of dream state, and that dream world basically becomes Silent Hill. Mm-hmm. So, because it takes anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour for the game to actually start becoming a game, which annoyed the living piss out of me, because I kept thinking, am I ever going to play this fucking thing? Because it was just story, dialogue, already convoluted, made zero sense. You're just like, yeah, okay, my daughter's still alive, go get her.
Go get her.
Evil organization took her, got her. But no, they just kept going on and on and on. And you just wander from the next place just with basically no interaction to get more dialogue. And so I reached out to a friend of mine who's a fan of not only the first game but this game as well. He played the shit out of this, and he's like, well, it takes like 6 to 8 hours to really get going. That is unacceptable. Are you kidding me? He's like, well, I played the game for like 36 hours, so what? I'm like, no. If I came to you, Drew, with a Call of Duty game, and I told you, oh, it only takes like 6 hours to really get that campaign going, would you even bother with the campaign?
Call of Duty game's only 6 hours for a campaign, so if you said it took 6 hours to get going, I would say no, don't play the campaign.
See, that's what I'm saying.
If we're talking about like a Last of Us game, though, and you're like, it's a Last of Us game, but it takes 6 hours to get going, I probably would do it.
The Last of Us didn't take 6 hours to get going. It took 10 minutes.
Yeah. No, it took like 30 seconds. What are you talking about? That intro is amazing.
Like, you're immediately in the world. You're scared out of your mind. There's freaking plant zombies coming at you. Evil Within 2, you're just like, okay. Yeah, all right. Dad's sad. Daughter gone. Got it. Go find her. Oh, I have to hide behind a couch now from this dude who teleported. Oh, he doesn't actually attack me. All right, cool. Oh, man. Luckily, you can hold more than one bottle this time around. That was a big flaw in the first game. That was annoying. So now you can distract more enemies. Let's see here. I didn't like the open world aspect of it.
Really?
You kind of just you kind of wander in this kind of wastelandy area. I never felt scared, and I'm a pansy with scary games. This one I never felt scared. I felt more scared playing Hellblade, and that's an indie game that takes place in 6 hours.
There you go.
Yeah. People love it, though, and I honestly do not see why. I think it's a bad horror game, honestly. I think it's more of an action game that's slow.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah. Contact me on Twitter or something if you enjoyed the game, because I honestly don't see it.
He's going to call you names. Because remember, I'm a nice guy. He's not a nice guy.
No, I wouldn't.
Contact me on Twitter, and I'll give you a nice compliment.
Yeah, go talk to Drew about Call of Duty. I'll talk to you about how shitty Evil Within 2 is, and you're wrong.
You're wrong. Ass Creed Oranges is terrible. Nobody should play it.
Oh, it's actually pretty good.
It's actually quite wonderful.
Yeah, I'm actually very very happy with it. I wish a lot of the bugs and glitches were out of the game, because there are way too many laugh out loud moments, such as when you immediately get into the game. See, you're in Egypt, Drew, and you're a Magi, kind of a guard of the Egyptians, so to say.
I got the Egyptians,
and
woohoo!
And there's a camel, because you ride camels in this game mostly.
Camels.
There are horses, but you do ride a lot of camels. The camel, every animal in this game looks ridiculous with the way it kind of interacts.
My camel Bunny is the best camel
looks like
ever.
it's constant. The camel looks like it's hovering over the desert instead of actually running.
A hovering flying camel. By the god of Ra, he gave me a camel that flies. Woohoo! Egyptians, yeah. Are you black in this game?
You're Egyptian, so yeah.
Good. I'm just making sure they're staying true to character.
Oh, this main character's badass.
Yeah, because he's assassin.
He's got a badass little backstory going on where he murdered his child accidentally. Oh yeah. This cult like tricked him and murdered his son. It's brutal. It's awesome.
It's like the beginning of Batman versus Superman in the actual. Wait. Uh-oh. I got something wrong. No,
that's okay.
When Superman kills his girlfriend and he goes crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you've been seeing me playing the game. Yeah. I mean, it's an Assassin's Creed game for sure, but it does a lot of things differently. So you can climb literally everything. Mm-hmm. The amount of detail in the world is outstanding. It makes it has that fun. I haven't even gotten to that part yet. Okay. I'm 6 or 7 hours into the game.
Okay.
It's nuts. The leveling up system. So this is where it diverges from a lot. Yeah, there's a loot box system. I haven't even really noticed it. Thank God. So if you do the pause menu and press right on the D-pad, that's how you get to the loot box system. Micro pay.
Gotcha.
So I'm just like, okay, nope, never push that button on the pause menu, and I'll never see it. And
I feel like JD's hatred for microtransactions was born out of he bought the $100 thing for Clash of Clans one day, and then he just failed horribly, and he just has this burning hatred for them now.
No, it's a system that pries against people's weaknesses.
Have you ever bought microtransactions?
Yes.
What's the biggest microtransaction you ever bought?
$10 on FIFA 14 or something, or 12.
Okay.
On Ultimate Team Packs.
I'm not going to give out my microtransaction info, but I was very gullible, and I may have put in a couple $1,000s into a game.
You poor soul.
I don't want.
Sounds like what happened in Overwatch.
Dude, yes.
But that's exactly the problem. That's the problem. It preys on.
I'm not dumb like that anymore. People. I wouldn't pay that much.
It's disgusting.
But the Black Ops 3 was such a fun game, and their supply drop system was the most broken Call of Duty's ever done. And you just had to get lucky. I bought hundreds and hundreds. Literally spent $2K on supply drops in that game.
People have done the same thing in Overwatch.
Yeah.
People do the same thing in other games. I read articles from Europe of kids spending thousands of dollars opening those FIFA Ultimate Team packs. It's disgusting. Shadow of War, every time you push the pause menu, there it is, microtransactions in your face. Forza 7, anytime you fucking race, there's something in your face that reminds you of micropaying. It's disgusting. Assassin's Creed Origins at least keeps it. I mean, Ubisoft of all people. Mm-hmm. Who knew? Mm-hmm. It's in the game, but you hardly notice it's there. It's very different. So, anyways, back to Ass Creed Oranges, which is the best title ever.
There you
go. There's a lot to love about this game. It has a major RPG element to it. It reminds me a lot of the same sort of system Horizon Zero Dawn has in how you level up your character and abilities. The difference, though, is Horizon Zero Dawn's a much more refined game. Yeah. But where Assassin's Creed has the advantage is the ability to literally go anywhere a lot easier because, yes, he can climb anything and everything. While Horizon Zero Dawn, you can't do that. It has to be designated areas to climb. The leveling up system I'm already finding a bit irritating because let's say I want to do more story-based missions right now and maybe side quests later. You can't really do that. You have to when a mission recommends you to be at a certain level, you pretty much have to be at that level in Assassin's Creed Origins or you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. So it forces you to do side missions immediately, all the time, and it levels you up incredibly slow. So I did a stream yesterday, and for about 2 hours, I was essentially just leveling up, doing a couple side missions here or there, and killing animals and guards over and over again just to get more experience.
Right.
Just so I could do one story mission. Haven't come across any escort missions yet. I hope that kind of stays the way it is. Because the story is son got killed by a cult, and basically you want to kill all these cult leaders.
Right.
And it seems like the story's going to open up even more after you kill these dudes. Because when I opened up the map to this world, holy fuck, it was big. Mm-hmm. Really took me by surprise. I didn't think it was going to be anywhere near that.
I have a question.
It is massive.
What about future-y stuff?
So in the first 6 hours, I've only come across...
What's the synopsis for the future storyline?
I don't know anything about it yet. The Animus is still there, obviously. Mm-hmm. There was one section at the beginning. Obviously, I've mentioned I've done a lot of grinding, so to say. Mm-hmm. That's my one major gripe with the game. So a character comes out of the Animus, and she's like in a cave somewhere. It looks to be in Egypt, I guess. And she's got her own makeshift Animus to go and, go to be one of her ancestors. And it looks like she's kind of an underground dealer to the company Abstergo, which is the main Animus company that wants to find the Apple of Eden, which is your main orb that controls shit. So she's like, I'm this Medjay dude, and he has a lot to do. So it looks like the whole idea is to find the origin of the Apple of Eden.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah. Hence the title. Yeah.
All right.
So just that one little section, that's all it was. And I was like, that's cool. That's all I needed. More Egypt stuff. I want to know more about this badass Medjay dude who murdered his son accidentally from cult people. It's like, I want revenge for him, too.
There you go.
Yeah. The fighting systems takes a lot getting used to. It's not as broken as past Assassin's Creed games where you just parry, kill, parry, kill, parry, kill. You have to actually duck and dodge all the attacks all the time. So there's quite a difficulty to the game, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I quite enjoy it. It's I haven't had this much fun in an Assassin's Creed game since Black Flag.
Awesome.
Honestly. Yeah. So are we gonna hit the get the heavy hitter now?
We're not even gonna have much to say about this game, are we? Like,
Odyssey?
Yeah, there's not much to say about it because there's like we're not gonna argue over it or anything. Like, it's a great game.
Okay, first of all, we've both beaten the main story.
I have not beaten the main story yet.
What do you mean you haven't beaten the main story?
I don't care. Go ahead and talk about it. Okay.
No. You go first. I've kind of hijacked a lot of this cast.
All right. So
you. How about this? You say everything good, and I'll say anything.
Everything good.
As little
everything
as there is.
Good. Everything very good. There's it plays incredibly. The animation is incredible. The mechanics are incredible. The worlds are incredible. I love this game. The camera is awkward a little bit, not much. I put my sensitivity on very high, and I'm not using motion controls, by the way. JD is using motion controls. I'm using the actual controllers, and the game keeps you excited and curious to see what you do next. It's just amazing.
What's been your favorite level so far? Or favorite little world?
My favorite little world, fun fact, is actually one of the early ones. I forgot what it was called, but it was that water one that had the big bubble underwater. I loved that.
It was like Lakeside or Lakeshore something.
I loved it. It was just small, fun, and awesome.
I really liked the Luncheon Kingdom. That was my favorite.
I think I've played that one.
That's the one where there's just food everywhere.
Yeah.
You can.
It's the one where the guy at the beginning is like, everything's on fire.
Yeah, there's a super kill you instantly goop everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can be fireballs going through them. I thought that was the most unique out of all the stages, and it definitely
every
showed.
World just reeks with just unique style. It's like it's good. It's fun.
So what is Mario Odyssey?
Mario Odyssey is the 3D platformer. They're their newest one. You know, they did the Mario Galaxy games. They did Mario Sunshine. 64. Mm. It is a continuation of that. I personally love 3D platformers like this. They added. Yeah.
There's not a lot around anymore.
No, there's not a lot around anymore, and this one is fantastic.
So Mario this time, the little quirk about this game is his hat is alive.
His name is Cappy.
It's a bee.
He's my best friend. I lost.
And what Mario can do is throw the hat and basically take over the minds of his enemies.
They gave out real Cappies at E3, and I forgot mine at the hotel room.
Oh no! I still have my Mario Maker little helmet they gave out at a Fan Expo a few years ago.
They should port Mario Maker to the Switch.
I think they will do that, no doubt.
Yeah.
There's no hub world in this one, as opposed to, say, Mario 64 and Sunshine, or even Galaxy.
Yeah.
Instead, your hub world is the Odyssey itself, which is this little ship Mario is in, and that's what he uses to travel everywhere.
Cappy's ship, okay?
Well,
he owns that ship.
Well, it's what they adventure in together to go after Bowser, who's kidnapped Peach, and he's going to marry her. And you go to all these worlds because he's been there and taken some special item from each of these worlds. So, like, from the Luncheon Kingdom, he took I think he took the cake from them.
No, yes, yep.
I think. Sure. We'll go
and by the way, the reason Cappy wants Bowser is because his sister Tiara, which is just a tiara, Bowser stole and put on Peach.
Right. From the Hat Kingdom.
Yep.
Or the Cap Kingdom. Yeah, it's a fun little game. I thought this is one of the issues I had was the story is forced on you, it feels. Just to get you to finish it, then you can get to what the game is, and that's everything after it. Where you get to be part of essentially the hub world in Mario 64, and you get to do all those tasks. And there's a bunch of other tasks to go from there. what I'm confused is why they went that route and just didn't stick with you were able to do all that stuff before the end of the game. Because the way I'm feeling now is, okay, I beat the story. How much more do I want to play? I definitely know I want to play more.
Yeah, because it's just.
But I haven't picked it up since beating the story mode. Because that's what always kept me from that's what always kept me playing, say Mario 64 or Sunshine and Galaxy, was I could beat the game at any time.
Now you just want to play.
There was a level for me to beat, so I had to get the 80 or whatever stars in Mario 64. Then I could beat Bowser. There was always a task to unlock the next world. I had to get X amount of stars or
I heard
shines.
there's something story wise that kind of keeps stuff going. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't even know if that's true, but I heard there's something that keeps it going. And I mean, the game is stylish enough that where I would still want to see what's next, just because I'm interested in that world. You know?
Yeah. Well, the fact that the Switch is on the go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be definitely a reason to keep playing it for sure.
100%.
That's the Switch's major advantage. That's why I'm going to continue playing Odyssey. What I'm saying is, if the Switch wasn't the way it was, then I probably wouldn't go back to it, honestly.
There's a really, really big beetle sitting on my desk. I'm gonna grab some paper towel. I'm sorry. This is an emergency. I'm scared.
This is an emergency. Well,
this beetle is very, very... This is a huge beetle.
One thing I found very strange about Odyssey, which I've never experienced in a Mario game before, even in a lot of Nintendo games, is the music itself. Wow. The music itself wasn't very memorable. There were some memorable stages with a song involved, but generally there were quite a few worlds where I was like, is there actually music here? Nothing felt... It didn't feel like Mario.
All right, we're good. Yeah.
Because
it like I said, everything was its own thing. Everything had its own style. At this point, it wasn't Mario style. Every world was its own thing. And that's what I loved about it. It wasn't about the character as much as it was about experiencing a whole new area.
It definitely changed the game on what I think a Mario game
definitely.
is.
It changed the perspective.
Yeah. So, there's definitely one moment I want to bring up, Drew.
Go. Spoiler alert?
No. No, everyone's pretty much know this already. So there's when you get to New Donk City and you beat that stage... the mayor is Pauline, the old Donkey Kong chick that was captured, and she sings essentially the Mario Odyssey theme song.
Yeah,
right. And you're the idea of Mario then goes across the stage in his old 2D way while this song's playing.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of Sonic homages to it. Yeah. In Odyssey, which I found very strange. But what I felt was very unique that I hadn't... I found myself, while the music was playing, almost immediately enveloping in tears.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know why I was feeling that way. And all I could think of was I was hit with so much childhood memories and nostalgia unconsciously that I was just breaking out. I couldn't... there were emotions that were very unexpected.
Yeah,
it was crazy. Did you?
I had a little. Have
you heard of anyone else going through
I've heard
this?
of other people going through, and I will completely admit, first of all, when it comes to media, for some reason, in general, I'm a super awkwardly sensitive, emotional dude, and this totally got me. I was totally a little choked up because you felt it. It was good, and I've heard of other people going through it too. So.
I don't know. It really took me by surprise.
It did to me too.
I was like, "What? Why am I feeling like this? I don't understand."
It's because I think specifically this character's been such a big part of... All that's
happening is she's singing.
Gaming in the industry and stuff that we've grown up doing for our entire lives. So I think that it was important. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. The ending sequence in the story mode, I won't spoil it since you haven't finished it, Drew. And there's the game's only been out for less than a week, pretty much. The ending is really funny. It's fun. You do a thing and become a thing, and it all kind of goes together. And then Mario has a good pimp moment that'll make you laugh. It's a good little story ending. My one gripe takeaway, which I was really hoping for, was Donkey Kong being in the game.
That would have been cool. I think the next
all we got Donkey Kong wise was that 2D rendition of him in the song.
I really think that the next 3D Mario game, I think they should make it this big all-star game where you run into all the characters. It is. They need to unionize, because now that we have all these worlds that have been, you have the galaxy, you have the worlds, you have so much. Mm-hmm. I think now they just need to fill it up with all these names and characters that we make it, because that would be a huge selling point. People would be like, oh, this is awesome. And I'm really curious, Cappy is such a cool character, honestly. And he's now a part of Mario. For people plenty of people, including me,
Do you think it's just a kingdom of boos with hats? Because there was no boo stage that I found in Mario Odyssey.
Right.
And there's usually at least one big boo stage with like King Boo and everything. Pretty sure all the creatures in the Cap Kingdom were just boos with hats.
Nice. Yeah, I'm curious to see where they go next. So,
I want to see Donkey Kong return as an enemy.
Really, as an enemy?
Yeah,
maybe so. That would be interesting.
Or Bowser has recruited Cranky Kong, and it's Mario and Bowser or Donkey Kong Jr.
What if we saw
together?
Yeah. What if there was a
you
tag
could call
team?
It like Mario Cross DK or something?
DK and Bowser grouped up to do something, and then Mario and Diddy. That would be awesome, dude. They got so many franchises that supposedly
have a mixture of Donkey Kong stages.
Yeah,
and
they supposedly all exist in the same world. Why don't we have all these crazy crossovers, right?
Or even better, have Wario and Waluigi start kicking.
That would be amazing. Have Wario and Waluigi screw over Bowser and have a Bowser Mario tag team game.
It doesn't even have to be that. Honestly, I just want to see someone other than Bowser.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I was really hoping for out of this game. Because I was hoping, Bowser wants to marry... this is how I was thinking it was going to start. You have your first stage world, and you fight Bowser immediately. And then once you beat Bowser, Donkey Kong comes in and just starts taking women. So he takes Pauline, he takes Peach, he takes, Rosalina from Galaxy.
Yeah.
He's just kidnapping women, and he's starting his own Donkey Kong harem. And Mario's just like, no, those are my women.
Pretty much. It's pretty great.
But no, we didn't get that. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a fun little story. It had tons of nostalgia feel. I was kind of wanting something a little bit more different.
Yeah.
I got a different game. I didn't get really a different story.
I don't know if Nintendo ever will, because they're a very formulaic studio, but I really hope they do, because it would be amazing. And it would bring a lot more resonance to those characters, It would bring so much more, and I'd be interested.
Well, then how about this, Drew? Instead of Donkey Kong in a Mario game, just make a Donkey Kong game where Pauline's actually the enemy.
I think that would be cool if they actually started... Maybe not Mario, because they want to stick with the formula for Mario because it works, but maybe take a Donkey Kong game and throw Yoshi into it. Start mixing stuff up. You have this universe.
It's Donkey Kong Revenge, and you're
Yoshi Donkey Kong, maybe he's lost his banana, and the banana rolls over to Yoshi's world, and Yoshi decides to help him. Make this cinematic thing work with all these. It's a huge universe.
That'd be fun. No, well, that'd be a Yoshi game, if anything. Then
I just think there's a lot of potential that Nintendo has, but.
Or Donkey Kong goes on a bananic rampage and you're just Diddy Kong the whole time trying to calm it down.
Pretty much. Anyway, that was Mario Odyssey. That game is definitely worth playing.
I'm curious to what for the audience. How would you rank Mario Odyssey in all of the Mario games?
Okay, so it's T3. It's top three for me. One. My top three are Odyssey, Galaxy 1, and 64. I have no idea where they all place. Depends on any day of the week. I'm sorry. But I love all three of those games dearly.
I would put Mario Odyssey actually at number 4.
What's your
when
top
I'm done
5?
thinking about it.
Or top 4?
I would say Mario 64 is number 1.
Okay.
Mario 3 is number 2. Galaxy number 3, and Sunshine. And then it's Odyssey, and then it's Sunshine.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
I could go into a slew of reasons, other than how each of those games basically defined a console and really just changed what makes that genre.
Definitely.
Mario 3 with 2D platforming, Mario 64 with 3D camera design and platforming itself, Mario Galaxy with motion controls and everything, and I didn't even talk about Odyssey with the motion controls. I love them.
Gotcha.
I actually love them. I thought they were very simplistic and intuitive. My favorite move was just shaking the motion controls up and down and making them do the somersault roll everywhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was how I played Horizon Zero Dawn, by the way. I just rolled everywhere.
I always just go to the nearest horse stampede area and just hop on one of those, or I just fast travel.
Well, all right. Yeah, awesome. So that was the podcast for today, right? We do it?
Yeah, that's everything.
One other thing I just wanted to say, Razer has a phone now. That's cool. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, more info on that soon.
Oh, man. Well, November is rolling
Definitely.
around. We got DLC, Sonic Forces, Star Wars, so a lot of good games
Definitely.
coming out.
I'm excited.
Next month.
It's going to be an awesome month.
Um,
Anyway, where can we get a hold of you on the infinite universe of the internet?
So you can get a hold of the podcasts, not just on iTunes. You can also get it on Google Play, iTunes Radio, Overcast, and many more. You can find me on Twitter at BowlingJD. Where can they find you, Drew?
At Boogadaball on Twitter. Boogidaball. It's cool, you know.
And it is in the description of the episode as well.
And I tweet about random things, all kinds of stuff. And
yeah, you've been pretty teenage angsty.
okay, you know what? I totally went that route. Yes, that was, it was a tough time. And I was like, you know what? It's not like I have that many friends to vent to. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to complain about it on the internet.
I know,
and I complained about
it
plenty to you. Actually, I complained about some of it to you. I didn't complain about all of it to you. But, it was, I haven't been as angsty. It's fun. I complain about stuff, but you can, it's fun stuff.
I was so glad I liked Assassin's Creed Origin and Mario Odyssey because the beginning of the month was a rough time for games for me. Well, this has been the October episode of the Red Leaf Gamecast, Modern Gaming Edition. Thank you, Drew, for being a part of this. Hopefully we can have a third person join us next time.
That'd be awesome.
So,
alrighty. Thank you, everybody. Have a good morning or good night. I don't know when you're listening to the podcast, you can't say that, Jacob. You can't say that. Just it's not allowed because it could be good night. Just like if I'm at work and I say, have a good night, or I arrive in the afternoon and I say, hey, good morning. They look at me like I'm a freak and they say, it's 3 p.m. It's not the morning. It is not the morning. And I feel bad.
It's morning for you.
Well, you know what? Okay.
Oh my god! All right, let's cue that entrance music.
Cue now.